Double touch off of the back of the Michigan Tech member will bury that one home in the Saints. They have to strike while the iron is hot. They are now once again running out of time. Those 2 goals, they were amazing. It gives them a chance to get back in this one, but still one more hurdle to get over. They are going to find a demo, try to find some space. Christian, first man to the ball. Beautiful job to clear that one out, try to kill some time. Is going to find the demo on Ski Boy. Ball toward the net, and Kamal's going to be the goal scorer somehow, some way.
Absolute
I want to see exactly how this played out. Yeah. Oh, just a demo in the roll. Nice and simple from the Saints, and that should more than likely be the dagger all after this game.
Yeah, and low scoring game is for sure, Jobin. Definitely called it there, as we're now 3 minutes into this game just about, and only 1 goal to come through, and very low shots as well. Just a lot of back and forth, but Quint, I caster curse them for the goodness.
Welcome back in, everybody, to yet another Saints live stream. Yet again, much like yesterday, going to have more League of Legends on the docket for today. Going to be NECC, the Saints sitting at 4-1, taking on the 1-3 Purdue University. We have myself, Jobin, and my much taller counterpart, Adam. How are you doing again, man?
Pretty good. Excited to see how this matchup goes, of course. Yesterday, we hyped it up to be this really, really competitive matchup.
It was.
For the first 5 minutes of the game, I want to say. It was pretty much a stomp coming through from the Saints in that regard. But tonight, maybe a little bit unbalanced in terms of this one. 4-1, although the Saints, and NECC specifically, on a little bit of a downturn after last week's performance. Granted, this is a Purdue team that has struggled to sort of get their footing. Believe their only victory this season has come in 2-1, so it was a little bit of a rough matchup for them. But overall, this should be a team that shouldn't be too difficult for the Saints. Granted, a little bit of roster shuffle coming through. It's going to be Erase actually filling in at support for tonight. So a new face once again to the varsity squad. It has been on the varsity squad. It's just been a substitution thus far. But, a little bit of a mix-up there. We'll see what sort of effect that has overall on their play style.
Yeah, because we've seen the Saints. They've been really prioritizing playing for that ball. And we've seen Ricky, even though he's been solo on that island, he has been causing an absolute boatload of mayhem for the side of the Saints. So they've been playing around their bot side a lot the last couple weeks. It's worked out very well. Rockboom is really finding his final form, and that guy, no matter what chance you put him on, he's bullying in lane, he's finding quadra kills, trying to go for those penta kills, doing so much work the rest of the game. So the Saints, curious to see if they want to maybe try to change this strategy or just try to play the same way and just try to plug and play these players and say, okay, we think we have the ability to try to run this one back, let's try to play the same way here.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see exactly how everything will work out with Erase down there as well, because we don't really have an idea of the champ pool.
Yeah.
They are an 80 carry player, so filling in for tonight specifically, we'll have to find out exactly what they're willing to pull out. Of course, we have no idea about what they're actually playing in solo queue and that sort of stuff. They could be someone who's just, a god at Blitzcrank or something, and all of a sudden that becomes a priority ban coming through. They could be insane at these enchanters or something, and we might just see Lulu Jenna come through as well. So there's a little bit of an instability in terms of that. The main thing is that it does affect what Rockboom will play as well, because there are some combos that are really strong. If you play, Aphelios, you can get away with playing a Thresh with that or something, or vice versa in that sense. If you're able to play a Morgana, you can fit in a Caitlyn with that. If you're playing more enchanter styles, it really affects what other champions you can play with it. You can play, Aphelios with a Lulu or something, but as soon as you're getting to like Janna or something or Yumi, you can't really put that Aphelios in. It limits an option that you have for yourself. It does open up other doors, but what that ends up being, we have yet to see.
Yeah, and that'll be the really, really curious part, is that Rockboom, he likes to play aggressive. I'm sure he's got a deep champ pool where he can kind of play anything in that bot side, or at least probably 9-10 champs deep, but he loves to get that aggression early. The Saints, they love to try to go for that early lead, and then they really like to, mobilize, send the artillery units all over the map, and try to cause as much mayhem as possible. So very, very interesting to see what's going to happen here. But the rest of the roster is going to remain the same, I believe, from yesterday. So we're going to see Ricky, Baker Boy, Alonso, and Rockboom. There, said his name 10 times.
It's going to be pretty similar, and I mean, the top side is going to keep that sort of. It's going to stay stable at that. I mean, Bakery Boy has had some really strong performances as well. I think we talk a lot about Ricky because they have a lot more of the pop-off moments, but Bakery Boy has been super consistent every single time, racking up the kills, being a real threat in that mid lane. Showed a lot of different champions as well. We saw the LeBlanc, the pocket, the one pocket pick. Then we got the other pocket pick and the AD Nico coming through, which was really interesting to see at that.
Yeah, that was fun.
that was really fun to see as well. But overall, one thing I want to point out is because Erase is an AD carry main, they know what the AD carry wants, In that sense, there's a lot of times where ADCs will transition to supports. We've seen Sven do the same in the pro leagues. Afremu back in the day was an AD carry. Yellow Star back in the day was an AD carry. If we want to go all the way back in the league history, so they know what they want in a support in a lot of ways. So in that sense, they can say, Rock can say, I want to play aggressive. I want to play Tristan. I want to play Draven, and Erase will say, I got something. I know the combo. I've got the sauce for that. So I'm curious to see if that will sort of come through in terms of the synergies there. But of course, it'll still be a little bit of an interesting show up at the very least. For them, at least, you can see it is a little bit of a easier opponent. I don't want to put too much down onto Purdue. They had a little bit of a rough start to the season there, but just by records and what we've seen thus far, it should be a good chance for them to sort of prove their worth and see if this roster will work out. Of course, roster shuffles are bound to happen at any point. You know, it's something that sometimes you just can't avoid, but nonetheless, we'll find out how this roster shapes up tonight.
Yeah, and with that being said, we are going to throw to a very, very quick break. Let the players get into the lobby here. I know they're meeting outside the stage right now, trying to get ready for the game and everything. So we'll catch you guys on the other side of the break with hopefully getting right into the draft.
That spooky themed boom as well, you know,
but currently, like, the amount of shot attempts coming out from St. Clair College, from Saints Academy here, and just the amount of saves coming out as well, you know, definitely Keen's defense is solid. It really just comes down to they don't seem to have that teamwork really nailed down on some of the offensive opportunities. The two-man plays really aren't coming through the way you'd want them to, and it takes someone like Redler to get super aggressive there and now give up a shot for their team. That's going to be
defense a little bit, and now give them a slight advantage, but of course more than half of this game remaining. Saints Academy, they've had their fair share of offensive opportunities. I think now it's just time to execute on them a little bit more aggressively, and already off the backboard you can see how much they're pushing for it. NECC just gonna miss on the back rebound there. Gonna be Ramen cleaning that one up, and that was what, 12 seconds later they flipped that momentum back in their favor.
Yeah, Saints Academy not messing around. They're not gonna let this 3-0 slip their hands. They've got one game loss to their name in the season so far. Straight up into the air, right for Snowball to find it. NECC actually taking it away from Indemnity there to keep this pressure going. I like the way Saints are just shutting down these attempted touches from Keene University. They're not even going to let them hit the ball. There's the air bump coming in. Ramen, they want to keep this pressure going from the skies. There's no
spawn sort of Carlton at this side, but they're just going to try and push up slowly. Lost holding their angles for now, biding their time. Are they going to get the peek down onto the chamber? Unfortunately, Hayden going to be able to find a headhunter, first blood of the round, and now they've got entry onto the site.
Entry onto the site, Sensei Moji with the headshot, and it's actually going to be retreating right back into Garage. Molly going to clear him out, but a flash. It's actually going to be good from Soup there in the trade as well. There's the team play coming through, a third from Sen.
Dropped here means that they're going to have to find and execute quickly.
Yeah, and with so many classics on the board as well, you know those SMGs are going to be bought up. You can see the Omen there, setting up a smoke, but really you're just waiting for those right clicks, those one-shot combos that you're able to find. Soup going to find the first one through the smoke, but running right into a right click from the Eonator right there. Plant is going to be good from Snoozers. The push is going to come out once again. Headshots from the Classic, clearing it up, but the time not in Carlton.
Down, but that's the gun difference right there. Spectre versus the Vandal going to be detrimental, but Demon going to be able to find a pick.
Yeah, but it's actually the Spectre that's going to force that rotation out of Garage from the chamber, and now you're a player up. Low health on Soup, however, but here's Sensei Moji in the back site, going to be able to find that kill. Flash does land, but you find it before. Soup clearing one more out, and Demon with that operator. There it is, given over to Carlton, but not without a price tag.
Price tag is going to be one of those members, but Pan's trying to find the blind through. Not going to be enough, just into three members who were full blind. You know, it was a great flash, but wasn't able to land those shots. Now Torba trying to scout out the area. It's a 5v3 situation. Going to actually use those Seekers right away. Sensei Moji going to find another kill, third one of the round. Ace alert potentially here. Going to be able to get onto site as well. Soup trying to clear this one out, but Demon and Torba going to clean up the rest of them.
Just yet, you know, they found some picks, they found some kills, but just have not been able to get that bomb refusal come down.
Sensei Moji with 43 health, not going to be in the best of shapes. You know, body shot +1 going to be enough to take him down, but as you can see, just trying to hold these angles as well as possible. Purple actually going to get a great blind, but Sensei Moji overkilling on that sense. It's just going to be Water left alive here, trying to find a flank around, has full health. Do they have the time here? Look at the angle that's being held by this chamber. Going to try their best, going to be able to flick that one down. Sensei Moji.
Water, though, getting him down once again. Now 2v3 for Carlton to try and make something happen in this pistol round. Eye is available. You've got the intel able to be gathered as long as Saints aren't quick on shooting it down.
See a little bit of a fake coming through from Torba as well. They're sort of feigning out towards Long, but indeed they were a lot closer there. Torba with this Sheriff just putting down the damage. It's all down to Snoozers here on the sky. The blind though going to come through. Soup.
The advance round going Carlton's way here. We only see the Shorty bot on defense. Obviously the Shorty can put in a ton of work, as well as that Headhunter shot stored up. Soup gonna find another pick backwards, even out the numbers. Sensei Moji, here's the Spectres coming through in full effect, and that is gonna be C-Site fully cleared out there for St. Clair, and Academy should be able to find this plant now and just play the slow game.
Yeah, or the fast game realist, though. The shot's not quite gonna land. A spray down, whiffing a lot of shots there, but nonetheless, the plant's still gonna come through despite some of those.
Yeah, the plant comes through, and Sensei Moji makes it out fairly unscathed. I think they took one shot through the wall there, but that was really about it. Now Hayden Dom gets forced to play the retake on the operator. Lost has to trade back 2 to keep them in this round. Demon finds, I believe that was Demon's second.
Actually going to be Ultimate coming through from the Omen as well. Scout everyone out. Go to Force going to be popped as well from the side of St. Clair College, but already the op coming in favor of Hayden Dom. Once again, has been so true with these shots, but Spike's still going to come down with a lot of time remaining. This is a more balanced execute coming through. I say that as Pans is able to find one with the ultimate lost, able to take him down, but already down to a 2v4 situation. Academy got to find something. Hayden Dom, we're going down. Sensei Moji looking for it. Finds one, finds two, but it's not good.
Carlton, will they opt for the safe?
It's a long retake at that, but you know, it's so difficult as well if you're able to get down this op. There's enough to be able to rebuy it as well. Snoozer's going to spot out all of these members, going to go for the blind as well. Everyone turning away from that as well. Sensei Moji with the true rat angle there. Torva able to find it as well. Sensei Moji down, trying to hold his garage angle. You can see they're just closing in like a scary hug coming through from the side of St. Clair College. They're going to be able to find their round, figure out what the plan is, and it seems like it's an execute towards this A site. Interestingly enough, not actually spotted out in that tree area was Lost. Lost was sitting there. Plant's still going to come down. An odd man advantage here for the side of St. Clair. Are they going to be able to execute on that? That is the question. Now, retake all 4 members up in heaven. This could be really good, or it could be absolutely devastating if they get sprayed down.
Arrow destroyed immediately, but not before one scan comes off. Water going to fall. Water and Eonator. Sir, we're going to see what can happen here. They're going to be committing to this A. It's worked out so well for them previously. The smoke going to come out for Tree, but now it's 2 players in that smoke. Presence going to be detected by that KO knife. Snoozers getting the plant down, and there's not too much Saints can do other than a Hunter's Fury coming through and absolutely cleaning out the plant there. Is the time good? They're able to... No, they are not.
The angle on this market area, you can see they're still really considering this B site, but now all of a sudden they start to move over towards the A. Let's see if Hayden Dom's going to get spotted out. That operator with a huge barrel does not matter. Lost, not going to be able to find the shots in time, and now actually Demon's going to be able to trade that one back, and only one left to come through. Snoozer's going to be the one in the hot seat looking for the plant. Going to be able to do anything about it. Demon with 11 health is going to be so difficult. Shot through the wall, going to be able to come through with the assist as they
move towards, you know, just a lot more execute heavy. It's not just straight stall anymore. Also, just coming with the fact that all of these new maps promote a lot more aggressive playstyles in a lot of situations. Pick, though, early. Going to be good for the side of the Saints Academy here. Prowler actually expires just before it finds them there. Sensei Moji in logs. Torva! 3K there.
Side of Carlton from really getting started and finding any of these players as well. You know, Water linking up with Eonator once again. They've got to try and link something up here to try and find the round for Carlton White here. Big round because they used a lot of credits to make sure this one was going to work for them, but even then, you know, not finding the picks necessary. Soup holding this angle for the time being. Demon as well doing what they can. Do they have the swing? It's the head for Demon. A 3K running. Gonna be able to get to the
left in the round. Plant come down in a few seconds.
And Plant coming through from Torva as well. As you mentioned, Torva's really been able to come alive on this map. I think Sova a lot better on this map compared to something like Haven. And if it's something that's an agent that's sort of in their wheelhouse in that sense, a little bit more comfort, you know, maps are going to matter in terms of how well you can perform. I think this has definitely been a better performance. Holding this, going to drop that pop flash coming through. Look at the swing though from Demon. Soup going to find 2 of them. Demon going to find that 3rd. St. Clair find their 10. Plant down. At least buy yourself a little bit of time, and Torva buys a man advantage there with a great shot. You know, the 2 members already picked up. Their Snoozers now trying to get onto site here. Already popped that volley, but Demon, his shots are real. Eonator though, taken down. Snoozer's able to find one for themselves as well. Water gonna be the last one remaining once again. We've had a lot of clutch situations like this before. Are they gonna be able to find it going to come through. Not going to spot anyone else. And knives come through from the side of Demon. Really just trying to find anything. Sensei Moji going to
side, one on each side. We have
Oh, Crime.
Yeah, Dragon Blade going up.
The Primal Rage, try to get that Zarya off the map here. Red X is going to find the kill. One support down. Zarya is going to get booped off the map. Squeak, beautiful use of the Primal Rage. Emran going to find the kill onto Lucio as well. And the Saints, barring this last-minute contest. Beautiful headshot by Red X. And there'll be one more contested. They're going to keep trying to touch this point, but it is not looking good. They are very, very staggered. And it looks like the Saints will take this first point.
It's a bad off-healer roll.
They're going to see Crime. Lots of huge damage. G-skills can get the dynamite kill, and Lucio being gone is going to spell pretty good for the Saints. Now Genji gone as well. The Saints, they are absolutely rolling Mizzou right now at this point, and honestly, barring some kind of crazy disaster, they're going to take this point within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, they literally need Squeak to touch, or else it's not looking good.
Squeak is going to pop to Primal, is going to clear some space here, but one of the Saints is going to have to be on that backside to make sure they keep the touch going. Emran going to find the kill onto the Lucio. Huge kill. Primal, it's still going to create that space, and it's going to get them a ton of value. They're going to drop 4 members of Drexel. They're going to probably get this point back now. It is pretty much going to be a staggered team kill. There it is. And now the Saints, it'll all come down to one more fight.
Yeah, and hopefully they can get it to go to a
third round. Yeah, it'll be the first game in I think 2 or 3 weeks they'll end up going the distance if that ends up being the case. So Sojourn gonna dive on, should be taken up by Squeak. There is going to be that. So now Drexel, the only problem now is you've lost one of your DPS right immediately. Now you have to kind of play that stagger spawn. Tracer Bomb not gonna find anything. Squeak is gonna get the kill onto Jeff Goldblum though, so Tank gonna be down. Gonna see a lot of hero swaps this round as well for Dizzy over to the Echo, but still not gonna be enough, and the Saints are gonna come for the time being. The Saints trying to hold on to this fight. G-skills getting that backline damage going. Squeak charging almost to his death on the side there. Coalescence is gonna go off for Emran. Every single ultimate being burned. Both teams realizing how close this game is. It's on a knife's edge right now.
Yeah, and we see double Junkrat, but I don't think it's going to be enough because Saints has so many resources still available to them despite using so many, and I was correct. That is going to be
so they can possibly try to set up some kind of choke point play, catch Drexel slacking, and they're going to need to get value out of their ultimates. The Blizzard is going to come through, going to slow a lot of members down, and they should be able to find a boatload of picks off of it, and it looks like they will. Squeak going to be able to hold that.
It's going to be really good. Just they need to
got to get there. We're going to see another huge play. Wow. Saints are going marching yet again. Team kill on the backside. They're going to take a picks of their own. They found Squeak getting a little too aggressive. That Immortality Lamp came in clutch a few moments ago, and now Squeak once again trying to keep them off that front line so they can at least capture this first tick of progress. They're going to get the first one. Sombra going to get Orisa tagged down low. Immortality Lamp is going to come through. They're going to take it out right away. Going to get the hack on Orisa. Orisa should fall here. They will get the kill. So just as I said, Sombra going to be basically on horse duty the entire game. Is going to find the kill on Echo as well, and Squeak.
Payload, but they might get it like right away. Oh, not right away. They are 2 minutes down, I think, when you start at 4 minutes.
But quick enough at least, Yeah, we're going to see the Sigma ult is going to be available. Great headshot there. Crime going to find the pick there. Squeak going to find one with the ultimate as well. Going to find a second onto the Widow. Going to find a third. Squeak with 3. Going to fall to Goldblum, but nonetheless is going to get 3 for his trouble. And the Widow payload going to try to find some way. Or Kitsune Rush is online. They are going to use it right away. So Red X going to initiate things. Dragon Blade is going to come in. Massive Sigma ult going to catch 4 in the air. Lamp does come down, but kills are going to come through. Emran, Squeak, and Red X all getting on the board there. This might be the push the Saints are looking for. Going to try to take out Peanut here. They're going to drop the Genji. Prime going to find that pick onto Peanut. Going to look for this second shot as well. Not going to find it, but the Saints might be able to gather some space. Squeak is going to fall. 2 for 2 going to go through, still being contested, and the Saints, they should be able to walk.
Not really going to have that agency, especially without the flat throw. Oh my goodness, aggressive plays.
Yeah, bot side going to have a lot of action. Saints going to go all in on this bot side. They're going to get the knockup. Renata is going to fall. Their invent is going to fall, and first blood to Misfortune. That is exactly who you want to get that first blood in the Saints. Aim Rift Herald elsewhere. Try to at least get the distraction, try to take some plates. Big fight in the mid lane though. The Saints are going to go on and try to find the kill. Unawakened is going to survive with his life. Rift Herald is going to be in that mid lane chunking as well. Looks like Renata did fall before the stopwatch there. Yep. health timer is going to go down. Rockboom use a bullet time. They're maybe by accident possibly wasting it, but the Saints still on the very positive end here. Rockboom take down a 1 HP, will survive. He will end up taken up by the Aatrox there. Alonso still trying to hang on. R's going to come through for the Maokai. Saints finding a bunch of kills. Misha's stopwatch goes down. An ace for
on the flip side, just as strong. Grant, items are a little bit cheaper for him. Here's a package coming across though.
Yeah, lots of damage going to go in. Alonso going to have to get out of there. Oh, Lantern going to save him. Bakery Boy going to cut right through on Awaken. Basically one-shotting. Bullet time comes through. Going to find 2 kills. Bakery Boy now going to pick up his second there in that fight, in the Saints. They're going to walk away. They're going to get a 25-minute Baron out of this, and that was Alonso up there live. Yeah. Ricky once again going to be diving in, unawakened. Ricky is going to be down to half HP though, so that TP flash through, flashes over into the pit, kills Invent, and then dashes out of the backside of the pit. Not going to die. Rockboom is going to find the inhibitor. They're not going to find the kill. Rockboom 1 HP, flash stopwatch. Misha is going to find the kill. Bakery Boy trying to go back in and out. Alonso going to dive in. Bakery Boy going to find the kill yet again. The Saints still on the positive side.
Perfect execution online, and you don't have that Corki who can really cut through these backline threats. This is a scary situation for this side of York. It's a make or break at this Baron.
Bakery Boy, I am waiting for the huge play to come, and he's going to dive in. Going to find lots of damage. All the Saints going to dive in on this Baron. The Maokai are slowly crawling into the pit there. Saints are taking a lot of damage though. The Saints triple kill for Alonso. 3 going to get knocked down. Going to be a 4th for Bakery Boy. The Saints completely clapping. Ace Baron, and they're going to head to the base and try to possibly start to end this game off. A lot of damage to Invent is going to walk away with their life though.
Bakery Boy
is going to come through now. Bakery Boy on the backside. The Feta Callie coming in. Turret is going to fall. The Saints, they're looking to end this game and end it quickly. They're going to wrap up on Awaken there. Find the kill. Alonso yet again going to be the recipient there. Going to take out the inhibitor. Bullet time comes through. The Saints investing everything because they smell the Bakery Boy slice. And welcome back in, everybody, from that very, very short break. As we said, Purdue University 1-3 going to be taking on Saints Varsity in League of Legends, as the overlay clearly displays our Saints sitting at 4-1. As we mentioned, though, a race filling into the support role for tonight. So yesterday we saw 10 different champions from game to game. So every single person switched the champs they played. Curious to see how the chips will fall tonight.
Yeah, very curious to see also what Purdue wants to pull out as well. Very typical, though, the Maokai band going to come through. Still very strong in 3 different roles. Patch notes, we actually have something on that. We looked at it and we're like, you know what? All the champions that got nerfed didn't really get nerfed. All the champions that got buffed didn't really get buffed.
It's placebo.
It's all placebo at the end of the day. So Maokai getting banned, no surprise there. Just so much control that you can rest in there. But the Yumi gonna get banned away. I'm gonna see you later, cat. Meow. Ooh. There's your meows and oohs for the day. That's all.
You will not be missed, and neither will those meows. Thankfully, we are gonna see the Jinx ban coming through. So a little bit of a strange decision. Jinx, let's be honest, terrible champion right now. Absolutely awful. So very surprising to see that ban coming through, especially knowing I don't think Rockboom has a lot of Jinx gameplay, or that's not really one of the champs he likes to focus on. So interesting decision, but maybe they just really have a hard time with the champion for some reason or the other. Can't, we don't have the insight to their brain, so not exactly sure.
And I think Jinx overall, she did receive some buffs. Once again, a little bit of a placebo there. Champion is not in the best of spots right now, especially considering the support meta right now, where there is a decent amount of engage coming through as well. Jinx has trouble with that. She just got, so much power taken out of her. They gave her the arcane buffs, and Arcane
and it was
on
pretty big.
And then they're like, who cares about Jinx after
slowly
that?
Fade away into obscurity.
Yeah, just push her into the corner there. Just put her over there. Nonetheless, Fiora and Ornn going to be taken off the table as well. This Fiora ban instantly makes me think towards an Aatrox pickup for the Saints here, because realistically, it's the strongest counter into it right now. We've seen it so many times, with Aatrox being near 100% presence at Worlds. It's been Fiora sort of that answer. If you can play Fiora, you can play into Aatrox. If you can't play Fiora, you are NA, and you are in trouble there. But Udyr are going to be taken off the table as well. Another pretty straightforward jungler at that. So interesting to see the bans coming through from St. Clair. A lot of ease of execution taken away from the side of Purdue, and maybe that's what they're sort of banking on. They're saying, we know that we're a better team. We're going to take away some of those easy-to-use tools from you. Granted, I'm curious to see what some of these picks coming through will be. Seems like it's the Karthus, and
a little different.
It's a little bit different as well. It's definitely one of those champions that can really sort of pop through with a whole bunch of damage. You can play solo AP in that regard. I mean, we got to see Karthus a couple times at Worlds. First strike can come through. You can get 450 gold off of an ultimate. It's really, really strong. It's pretty straightforward to use as well, because if you die, it doesn't matter. You can still use that champion. You press R, you do a whole bunch of damage. The Caitlyn, though, going to come through from Rockboom. This has been a staple for him thus far. It's been banned away from us so many times. So very curious to see how well Caitlyn is able to play it out here. Of course, paired up with that Iron that we saw out yesterday. Alonso yesterday. Yep.
Pretty nice.
Yeah. Very good in its own regard. Alonso very comfortable in this champion. It's definitely a pocket pick for him.
Yeah, we're going to see the Jhin coming through for the side of Purdue. So one that we haven't seen too often, I think, in the last few matchups, but nonetheless, pretty solid ADC, all things considered. Going to match up with Kate, at least decently enough. Well, they have pretty similar kits, so going to be a little bit of a decent matchup there on that bot side. We're going to see the Nautilus coming through, so Purdue, they want to go for that engage route, obviously.
Yeah, Nautilus is definitely a champion in League of Legends. Don't think it's the greatest right now, especially with where it's at. I mean, with Jhin, it does have some synergy. You know, you've got a lot of crowd control. Jhin can follow up with a deadly flourish on that. You know, you have ways to, you know, lock people down to give space for the curtain call as well. But overall, Nautilus is not a good champion. We're just going to keep it a whole stack. It is not a good champion. There's a stat from Worlds where pro players played it, did not do a single point of damage for 21 minutes in a game.
Efficient.
Yeah, efficient is bad, nonetheless. Aatrox's going to get locked in. This is exactly what we were expecting. You know, with the Fiora banned out, you know, with your R3 pick, you have a chance to sort of blind counter in a lot of ways. You can ban out a lot of the counters against the likes of this Aatrox. Thus, the Yona gets banned as well. Aatrox still incredibly strong right now. We saw the power of it in weeks past. We saw it on full display. We've seen it on full display for the last 5 weeks as well, so not too surprised on that one.
Yeah, nice to see Ricky getting to finally play the Aatrox. So we've seen it gets banned away or picked by the other team so many times. Nice to see him, you know, add another champion to the pool. He's played a lot of Aatrox, but it's always nice to see it get busted out. You're going to see the Morgana ban coming through for Purdue, so Kate Morg, do not want to deal with that whatsoever. Very much understandable. And we're going to see the Riven ban coming through for St. Clair, so maybe someone on Purdue, either a one-trick or very, very strong on that Riven, can be a bit of a tricky character to deal with, so they just want to put that one to the wayside. Yeah,
and of course, expecting to see the Lux ban come through as well against the side of St. Clair here. You want to take away those sort of bind root combinations there. As expected, you know, Lux and Morgana very, very strong in that role in their own rights. But of course, the Riven, it's interesting because Riven does really well into Aatrox in a lot of matchups just because you have so much mobility to get around there. But of course, a lot of people call the Aatrox Riven too, just because you have sort of the 3-hit knock-up sort of deal. So here's to see how that works out. The Amumu going to get locked in here as a combination with the Caitlyn. That's an interesting combo because you don't really have the same agency to lock down your targets for as long. It's a little bit less reliable because your stun isn't long enough. The bind's usually a little bit longer in that regard, but overall, should be an interesting combination nonetheless. The Olaf going to be the answer into the Aatrox. This is a common matchup just because you can just run through what the Aatrox wants to pull through. You can do more damage in the time that it takes for Aatrox to pull out his combos.
Yeah, I think the Amumu pick still works, though. He's still one of the strongest supports in the game, and technically, even if the Q doesn't last as long, you get 2 Qs and the R once you hit level 6, so the lockdown going to be just enough time. We're going to see the Silas going to get blinded mid, so one of the most reliable blind picks mid in the game. And I will say, I was going to say, LeBlanc is open. I would suspect Bakery Boy will jump right on that one, and he is going to. We've seen he is an absolute terror without LeBlanc, so going to pick that one into Silas. Going to be a pretty good matchup for them, and pretty interesting draft from both sides. Saints, pretty similar idea to yesterday, not going to go completely different route, but the bot lane clearly not going to go with too many adept changes. We're going to see Erase stepping in on the Amumu, and just like that, we are getting on to the Rift.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this Amumu is able to play out because in a lot of ways, Silas is the counter to Amumu. There's tech that's been pulled out in seasons past. Silas support, I'm a big fan of that as well. Where you played into Amumu because you get a lot more agency in the early game to roam around. You have more of a kit than Amumu does. Realistically, you look at Amumu support, there's the bandage toss, and there's the ultimate, and that is it. That is all you get in favor of yourself. But overall, Silas just has so much more in the inventory, and you can steal away that Amumu that has such a high AP ratio. Makes it very difficult to play the game against the Silas. In the mid lane, it's a little bit less volatile, I want to say. And Silas doesn't really have great ults to steal apart from that Amumu ult and apart from maybe the Caitlyn ult in some niche situations. So it's still just a very strong champion here. We've seen it come through a lot. So very curious to see how that matchup works out.
I know as someone who's been playing a lot of Amumu, when Silas is on the map, I do my best to stay as far away from that guy as possible. You feel like you're getting solo targeted the entire game, but the good thing is, playing in that solo lane, mid lane, Bakery Boy, we know how much pressure he likes to put on that mid lane. Gotta try to keep that Silas from roaming, stealing those ultimates, trying to find those picks and keeping them away from each other. And as you saw, obviously League, they're gonna get us with a quick little pause. So I think Purdue fixing a little bit of ping issues there. So, you know, don't want to be dropping any ping in that bot lane. Don't want to be giving up anything early, but hopefully we'll be back in just a second. And I say, I'm very curious to see how this game ends up working out with, let's say, we see so many different champion rotations every single game. It's always a pleasure.
And interestingly enough, we're going to see a little bit of a delayed invade coming through, or at least they just kind of walk in there, get a ward down on the red buff. Ricky not actually going to be wiser to this, so it seems as if they're going to get full knowledge of Alonso's pathing here. Of course, pause after the pause, the Riot special there. Not as long as I've...
True.
You know what?
That was way faster.
That was improvement. You know what? Congrats on that one.
And next patch, it'll be double the length.
Nonetheless, I want to point out as well some interesting choices in terms of the summoners on bot side here. You can see the cleanse coming through from Bard the Jhin. They're going to be opting to keep themselves as safe from a racist crowd. I can't. It's so difficult to say.
We all can see it. We all know.
We all see it.
Beautiful.
It is the ghost on the opposite side for Rockboom there. Going to be trying to stay as far away from Simples on this Nautilus. An interesting choice, though, because of how much crowd control, as we mentioned, on this Nautilus.
Yep.
Sometimes Cleanse is better in those situations, just if you need to get away from one of those crowd controls, which may be the case in this situation, but nonetheless, Rockboom trusts in themselves. They trust in their mobility to get away from that.
Yeah, and we're going to see Erase running Ignite as well, so they're probably going to go for that early aggression, try to find that level 2 kill. He's going to hook on there, going to land the Q. Bard going to be tagged down just a little bit. Erase, still giving chase there. Going to hook back the other way. Might be able to find the killer. Ignite is going to go through. Flash out and going to flash on and find the kill. Erase. Going to find First Blood. Hopping on the stage, no problem. Going to get First Blood there for the Saints in the spot lane. We've seen what happens when they get going early, and man, it can be a nightmare scenario.
Yeah, Erase just showing up already, saying, hey, first level, I'm wearing my birthday hat. Happy birthday to me. I'm going to pick myself up a nice old kill for myself. And, picking up the kill into the Nautilus. It's a lot of the flaws that I was mentioning from the get-go. Nautilus has, level 1 specifically, doesn't have a whole lot of agency. You have to try and look for sort of these cheese plays in that regard. Gets punished for it nonetheless. See there, Mumu sometimes just a little bit better. You got 2 of those opportunities to sort of crowd control someone down, and then just a little bit too much damage to deal with. Simple is going to be on the back foot here for a bit. Yeah,
and the good thing about the Mumu as well, you can hook back onto a minion. There's so many ways to disengage out of fights as well. So you can hop in, but just like that, get that Spider-Man rope out. You can hop right back out of the fight and get out of harm's way. See, back and forth from every single lane right now. Ricky going to try to put his usual pressure on, but Olaf, could be a very difficult one to trade with, especially, the fastness, how quick the auto attack landing can be.
Yeah, of course, there's a couple of different things that Olaf has received in the most recent season. Of course, of note, gets a shield and auto attack reset on the W now, just to be able to get that trade down a little bit quicker. As well, just a little bit more agency on the top side. Ragnarok got changed where it basically resets every time you auto attack them. The length of it resets so you can continue to stay in these fights for longer. You lose a little bit of your durability overall. I think you lose a little bit of movement speed as well off of that champion from the get-go.
I think he's still pretty quick.
He's still pretty good. Still pretty quick at that. And I mean, you see the summoner spells taken. It's Ghost, Ignite, extremely aggressive. Simples, though, gonna go for a little bit of a roam. Lands a hook.
Bakery Boy gonna get the hook landed. Hydra Knight is gonna be following up there. Bakery Boy not in a really good spot here. Gonna get some help from Alonso, though. Try to get him out of there. Stun's gonna come through. Simple's gonna keep trying to tag up Bakery Boy. Luckily, Alonso just gonna show enough to keep that kill from going through Ricky. Gonna sit in this pixel bush, try to find something. Maybe they're gonna hit the vision cone. Hydra gonna be aware of Ricky in that river, though, so gonna be a whole lot of nothing going on. A little bit of a scare, but Bakery Boy gonna escape with his life, so nothing, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, the biggest thing to keep in mind, though, is Bakery Boy doesn't have that teleport, whereas mid lane there, Silas does have it available. You're going to be able to teleport back there with the Dark Seal plus available potion, whereas Bakery Boy not quite going to get as good of a reset, going to miss out on a little bit of experience, miss out on a little bit of potential cold. Ricky fighting aggressively, though, so it's 2v2 topside.
Yeah, Ricky is going to flash away Alonso there as well. He's going to run away, though, so a little bit, once again, another quick little skirmish, but gonna avoid the kill for the time being just away. I'm not sure if a flash was burned there. I don't believe it was on that side. I think Ghost was actually popped there by the Olaf. So gonna get one summoner. Ricky had to flash earlier as well. So again, a couple summoners traded, but both teams just trying to jockey back and forth here.
Yeah, I also want to point out an interesting rune choice as well. Erase opting for the Aftershock on the Amumu. Sometimes you'll see Glacial coming through. Sort of Glacial Evan Shroud has been the new build that we've seen out of Amumu support. It is quite strong to be able to lock someone down and keep them, slowed up afterwards, so your crowd control a little bit more effective. But Aftershock really works when you're going into a team that doesn't really have too much of a tank with a lot of burst as well. The Jhin 4th shot, the Silas can do a whole bunch of damage quickly. Even the Karthus ultimate, if it's coming down, you can try and find an Aftershock proc just to reduce that damage. And I think that is a little bit wiser here. So I don't mind this pickup from Erase in this situation. A lot of times it's just like, I think 95% of the time you go Glacial just to get that extra little bit of utility. But I like this adaptation here to sort of recognize what is strong on the enemy team, the fact that they've got a lot of bursts, and just say, I need those resistances for the short-term fights. Yeah,
and it's not like the Aftershock is off meta. There's usually two builds you can choose from. As you said, you're going to go Glacial or you're going to go Aftershock, so just going to opt for the second one of the two there. It's going to still work either way. Bakery Boy back and forth in the mid lane here, trying to get that farm up. Going to put a little bit of damage on, going to get knocked up. Going to get that electrocute proc, and is going to get the root in front of the tower. Ricky trying to put in work, going to land the chain to this top side. Lands a couple Qs. Oh, very, very low HP. It's going to actually walk away, though. Not going to be able to finish that kill. Ran out of the Q charge, but nonetheless is going to be able to get this wave shoved in and hopefully start that Ricky snowball we all love to see.
Yeah, a little bit odd to see Ricky just sort of letting the Olaf walk in a lot of senses. Maybe was worried about a potential turnaround from the Karthus or something along those lines. Just sort of biding their time at the very least. It's going to be early Iron Spike Whip picked up there by the Olaf there. So going to opt away from one of those Sheen items. Probably going to be going either Stride Breaker or the Core Drinker to get a little bit more sustain in that lane. But Of course, you've always got to be careful here. Spiral Claws has the Ignite as well, so you don't want to risk turning around to fight. And Olaf, of course, getting a lot more lifesteal as he gets lower on health as well. Going to be concerning to deal with in those tight situations, because we've all seen those Olaf surviving on a sliver of health for like 5-6 seconds sometimes, just able to keep that Berserker's Rage going. Yeah, and he does have the Ignite up as well, so Ricky want to make sure, the fight is going to turn on him. He doesn't want to get caught out there, have anything bad happen to him. So bot lane now, a little bit of back and forth. Rockboom and Erase still trying to find an edge here, but have a slight CS lead for the time being so far. Ricky, Saints across the board, usually mostly having a slight CS lead. Ivan being just a little bit behind. Alonso is going to walk mid here, try to find some kind of gank, but not going to find quite the timing he's looking for. Going to get caught out there. So a lot of roaming, a lot less action than we saw yesterday, but a lot, like, equal amounts of roaming, but, less results so far. And I think a lot of that just comes through in them respecting their opponents. Despite the scoreline coming through 1-3, this is a very strong roster coming through from Purdue. Seems as if they've just had a little bit of an unlucky start to the season in a lot of ways, so really just respecting their opponents. And I think a lot of that just comes through in the laning as well. They're laning a lot better than what we saw yesterday out of MBU. So, they're forced to respect them a little bit more. Ricky isn't just able to go sicko mode permanently here, but, this first dragon going to be going down towards the side of St. Clair. They're going to take that advantage that they've acquired on the bot side of the map with that 10 CS advantage and that first blood, and they're just going to transition that over to this early dragon. It's going to be completely under the guise of darkness here, apart from that late ward, but Alonso has the upgraded smite, should be able to get this cleanly. Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing the Saints have been doing, is when they've been playing off this bot side, they were honestly pretty terrible at playing off objectives early in the season. A little KR going to go through, but now having that bot lane pressure, knowing that Ricky's able to hold down that top side, they've done such a good job of getting to those objectives, either forcing fights on them or making the other team make a decision whether to try to flip it or at least to try to take some fight they might not be ready for. Olaf going to pop the R, going to run down on Ricky. Ricky going to get tagged down, pop the R as well. Ignite's going to go through. Tower shot. Ricky might fall. And he'll just get away with 1 HP. Spiral is going to survive, and Ricky going to fall there, and that'll be a kill for the top side. And now Ricky has to try to get back in this game a little bit. Yeah, and that's the power of the Olaf in this 1v1 matchup. Just presses Ragnarok and is just able to continue pushing forward so aggressively. Speaking of aggressive, Rockboom and Erase getting right to business. Erase going to lend the stun. Karthasar is going to come through there. And the curtain call going to find Erase. Second shot to Rockboom. But meanwhile in the jungle, Alonso picking up a kill, and Rockboom turns and burns onto Fard. And just like that, the Saints going to go 2 for 1 when it wasn't looking necessarily the greatest there. Yeah, honestly, really good turnaround from Purdue to be able to find that kill onto Erase at the end of that. Rockboom really didn't want to have to block up those shots, but really had to after the the Karthus ultimate came down. The Rec Room just doing so much damage to all of them. I'm not sure if they got a first strike proc off of that. Would be curious to keep an eye on how much money they accrue with that first strike overall, because you really look towards that ultimate to do that extra bit of damage when you pick that up. But overall, this Karthus getting taken down by a really good rotation over from Alonso as well. I'd like to see them play around this bot side still. Despite the substitution, they're still confident in those players down bot side. They want to continue to use that as a focal point. I mean, again, for all we said, Rockboom 2-0-1, already have a 30 CS lead over the Jhin. So even though it's still early in the game, having that big advantage early just going to bode well for the Saints later on, especially Ricky dropped the first death, but we saw him get first blooded, I think, in both games yesterday. He slowly fights his way back into the game, and Aatrox eventually, just so much health, so much sustain to deal with. But obviously Olaf, very good pick into it as well. So Spiral going to try to work that lead and try to work Ricky out of the top side. Bakery Boy get a plate here, going to get a couple more autos on the tower here, maybe try to find that second plate, but we'll have to back off in just a moment here. Erase taking a quick little roam, seeing if he can make any plays, but nothing going to show up for the time being, so we're going to reset. Bakery Boy, though, always looking for the fight. You can see Teal's probably having a little bit of trouble just sort of coping with this. I say that as they go in full commit. Yeah, Bakery Boy getting a lot of damage. Is going to land the root. TL going to try to walk away. Going to get stunned up again. Second member coming in. Simple's going to try to land the hook. Not going to land it. And it looks like TL is going to fall to Alonso. The Saints trying to back to the tower. Bakery Boy, he's got a whole team of friends with him to back him up. Triple stun. Bakery Boy going to find that kill onto Simple. So the Saints, once again, they do such a good job of turning what looks like maybe a bad play into a fantastic one with well-timed roams and obviously great communication despite, Erase, you couldn't tell he hasn't been playing with the team the last week or two by this point. Yeah, it honestly looks really coordinated with how well they've been rotating into a lot of these plays. Rocco's been fine on this bottom side of the map to just play their own game, up what's that, 25, 26 CS at this point. Oh my, they're going for it. Yeah, Ray's going to go back in again. Gonna land the stun, and Rockboom once again going to get another kill. So Rockboom, man, how do you keep this guy from not being fed in the bot lane? Every single game, it just feels like we're calling his name over and over and over. And no matter what support you put with him, he's putting in work. TL
Gonna give chase to Bakery Boy. Is gonna get away for the time being. This Rift is gonna be started topside as well. Alonzo might be in a pretty tricky spot here. Daisy's gonna be there for the backup. Here comes Ricky though, gonna pop the R. Olaf still trying to chunk down Alonzo. Alonzo is going to fall. Now Ricky stuck in the 1v2, getting absolutely massacred in Spiral. Going to be up to 3-0 now, and that is going to be a very, very scary Olaf.
And you see Olaf there didn't really take much damage throughout that entire trade, was just able to out-heal and out-sustain everyone. It's a case where Olaf is like Aatrox in the sense that they have so much healing, they're able to, you know, sustain in these fights. But Olaf wins against Aatrox because you've got more of a feast or famine playstyle. An Olaf from behind is really, really difficult to pilot, but an Olaf from ahead can absolutely decimate these matchups 1v2 a lot easier because you don't need to land skill shots really.
Bakery Boy is going to get locked up. Sad Mummy is going to come in. Oh, trying to find a kill erase. Going to get stunned up though. Karthus R is going to come through. Probably going to find at least one kill. Oh, actually not going to find the kill on Bakery Boy. Once again going to survive. Bakery Boy. This guy has a knack for surviving at 1 HP. Feels like every time he's in the mid lane. At least for the Saints though, if Purdue keeps devoting a lot of resources and time to trying to get him in the mid lane and he's able to keep escaping over and over, it's going to hopefully open things up the rest of the map. Ricky going to take those topside Krugs there, try to get some farm and get back in this game. And as we said, Bakery Boy able to escape with his life there.
Yeah, and you can see once again, it's sort of this dichotomy that the Saints like to play. They like to leave this top side a little bit on an island as we've seen. And I mean, it's been a little bit of a challenge for Ricky to just sort of find their footing in this matchup against Spiral Claws. But on the bottom side of the map, you know, Rockboom is so strong at this point. You know, picked up 3 plates for themselves, going to continue to be sort of a strong force on that map. So difficult for so difficult for Shinfar to do anything in that matchup to even keep themselves in line to, you know, even put any sort of contention up against Rockboom here. And I think it's just going to be the story of this series is what's going to happen between the top lane and the bot lane, because it's going to be such a dichotomy between the two of those.
Yeah, Bakery Boy going to get the stun. Rift Herald taking the tower down to 1 HP. Saints are going to look to maybe take out this tower and make it die. Bakery Boy going to go in. Lots of damage. Simple. Down to 1 HP. Now Race still trying to hang out in the bush there. TL is going to steal, I believe, some kind of ultimate there. Try to walk. Actually going to end up taking Daisy there, so going to run the Saints back to the tower. Not going to find a kill, luckily for the Saints, and that tower just not falling for Purdue as well, but nonetheless getting some gold off that Rift Crash.
And the difficult thing about playing a champion like Nautilus is that you go in and then you're in. And that's it. And
it
once
better go your way.
You know, you use all of your utility, you use everything, and then you're in the fight, and you're just a sitting duck at that point. So that's the main issue that a lot of people have. Oh my goodness, look at this flank from Rockboom, though. Yeah, Rockboom, beautiful job to set up the flank, able to connect with the team. Ricky gonna find the kill on the Hydra, so beautiful job to get that top winner kill, get him back in the game. Olaf gonna go running for the hills here. Spiral Claw realizing despite might not be necessarily in Purdue's best interest. Kadar gonna land, snipes out the Silas there. Gonna find yet another kill. Now up to 4-0-1, and the Saints are also going to get this dragon for their trouble. Purdue not gonna be able to regroup and take that fight. Beautiful job walking that fight into the bot lane. Rockboom connecting perfectly and just finding another pick as he does. And it's strange to see the Caitlyn flanking, but it was sort of the way the fight worked out. You know, Caitlyn was just pushing on that bottom side, picking up that first tower as well. Very likely just going to walk mid and pick up that last plate as well. Rockboom's been able to get so many leads for themselves time and time again. You know, 4,000 gold lead at this point, and I think a lot of that is just going to be, you know, centered around this bot lane. Rockboom has so much of a gold advantage over the side of the Jin. Now, that's exactly at 3,000 gold up at this point. 3/4 of the gold lead at this point is Rockboom. Before 15 minutes. Before 15 minutes, they're going to be looking to complete a second item now.
And I think we saw yesterday, too, we saw 2 or 3 items completed for a couple of the Saints before the 16, 17-minute mark, and it is just going to be so hard for them to deal with that Caitlyn just poking from the backside, and then you have the Amumu to dive in there, create a lot of mayhem. Alonzo going to be there with Daisy and putting down those bushes as well. Ricky going to be dove in this top side just a little bit. Spiral just going to crash that wave and back off for the time being. Maybe go seek a roam, a race. Jockeying back and forth with Sybil. They're both the supports, trying to hold down this river, trying to fight for the vision control. Bakery Boy is going to go in on Fard here. Might be able to find some damage. Second member is walking up with the Silas. Is going to be there. Bakery Boy going to have to flash out. Their curtain call is going to get popped to Bakery Boy. Now you're not going to be in too good of a position. Going to get tagged down, and the Karthus are going to come through. Kill finally comes through. Bakery Boy finally meets his match. Kill going to go over to the Karthus there. So Purdue trying to slowly inch their way back into this game.
Some tech that I'm also curious about. If LeBlanc's clone pops and the Karthus ultimate comes down, does Karthus get extra damage on first strike for that? That's what I'm curious about there, because I know that first strike will pop off of random clones and stuff. It can pop off of Fiddlestick's effigy, so I feel like it might work. So if the Karthus just uses the ultimate every single time LeBlanc is low health, maybe they can get more off a first strike. Just a theory thought there.
Just a little thought for food for thought there, in case But once again now, both teams kind of taking resets there. TL trying to put some pressure on this bot side tower now. Going to do a little bit of rotation. Going to send the Jhin over to mid to pick up some farm and try to slowly catch up to this Caitlyn because Rock Boom. He took a couple of the jungle camps as well, so this guy's finding CS everywhere. And I see three top side for Purdue. Rock Boom not really in a great spot. Alonso is there for the backup though. Daisy's going to come in. Oh, Olaf going to try to run down Rock Boom. They realize Caitlyn is the catalyst for this fight. Is going to find the kill. Erase going to get the trade out there. The Saints still trying to fight their way out of this one. Erase way in there. Going to find yet another kill. Actually going to find 2 kills. Going to get taken out by the Jhin there, but I think that's going to be a 2 for 2 all things considered, and the Saints were pretty outnumbered there for the first part of that, so not too much to worry about. But I think someone did get the gold off that Caitlyn though as well, so.
Yeah, the gold did go over, I believe, to the Jhin. Or no, Karthus was able to pick up that shutdown, and it was Jhin who was able to pick up that other one. So, you know, you get a second kill on this Jhin. At the very least, trying to get back into this game. Has that Gale Force, so a little bit more aggressive coming through from the Jhin. Realistically, it's the only mythic you can buy on that Jhin. You don't really want to see Kraken Slayer Jhin. It's not very good at that. Shield Bow Jhin, oh, good. That would not be very good either.
That was close.
But yeah, you can just see they're still tempting fate on this bottom side of the map. I'm interested to look at the itemization choices, though. It's the Locket coming through from Erase. This makes sense considering what we were talking about earlier with the Aftershock choice. There's a lot of burst on the enemy side, which means something like a Locket is going to have so much value, especially against Karthus ultimate. Karthus ult comes down, you know exactly when it's coming. You drop down that Locket, you're able to shield out your whole team. Karthus gets nothing off of it. As well, we see the Moonstone actually coming through for Alonso as well. So expecting that if the initial burst isn't enough to burst them out, you can still sort of heal back up. You can buy yourself a little bit more time. Better more so than the likes of the Shirelles, which we saw yesterday, because their engage doesn't need the movement speed. You know, Amumu's going to get into that backline and going to drop the ultimate. That's your engage. You don't need that extra little bump through. But Alonso, this is a risky face check.
Yeah, Saints going to walk up here. 4 members of Purdue stacked up on the second Rift Herald here. Looks like Alonso, going to try to get some vision here, at least clear that vision cone. Realize what he's up against possibly and make the decision to, you know, reluctantly give it away, but realizing that's not going to be the play for them. Just going to try to crash this mid-wave Erase. But getting it a little bit deep there on the Silas. Not going to go too far, though, without his teammates back there. And Purdue is going to claim the second Herald. The Saints currently sitting at 2 dragons to 0. So little trade off there. Bakery Boy might be able to take top side. He is going to, you know, respectfully back off there, not wanting to give a kill away. Ricky going to get stunned up. Everfrost going to land. Ricky going to have to flash out of there, taking a couple tower shots for his trouble. And TL does have that Amumu ultimate as well. So very strong weapon in the back pocket there. And all the Saints going to look for some kind of dive here, maybe. Going to try to land the change. Daisy's going to be there. Alonso going to take a tower shot. Amumu going to go all the way in. Kadar coming in as well. They are going to knock down that Silas. Going to be an execute for Alonso there as well. So going to be technically a 1 for 0 thing. 1 for 0 all things considered there. The Saints mobilizing and setting up in that bot lane and finding that pick.
Yeah, you still lose your Dark Seal stacks, which is unfortunate, but nonetheless, it's still a kill going over into Ricky LaFleur's pocket. This is really good for Ricky just to be able to supplement their lead on this top side of the map. We saw them struggle in the early game, but now believe they've probably evened up the gold at the very least. It's getting close here. This is purely first strike. We'll keep an eye on the Karthus here. How much gold do they get? 138 from that tier 2 ultimate. So 2 items, tier 2 ultimate, you know, 138 gold. That starts to sack up pretty quickly. That's the power of Karthus. You're able to buy first strike. You get 9% bonus true damage just off of everything that you pump out when you have that cooldown available. And, you know, it starts to add up in the bank. I remember Worlds game once again, Tess versus Agam, they pulled out the Karthus, and I remember 450 gold ultimate coming through from Levi. It's a lot of damage that can come through, and it's really something that can turn the tides of a game.
And we're going to see this Karthus already going to be sitting at 5 Darksteel stacks as well, so doing a good job staying alive the second half of this game so far. Now, going to see a fight over the Mountain Dragon here. The Saints look like they don't really want to give it away. Going to be a little bit of a hard engage angle here. They might just try to play the fight afterward. Oh my. TL going to take the Iron Ult. Going to get stunned up by the Jhin W. Whole fight's going to go, and they are going to get the Dragon is Purdue. Massive fight back and forth. Either team trying to break the line here. Going to see a couple of kills for both sides. The Saints trying to dive on this backline. Rock Boom doing a ton of damage. Going to find 2. Ricky going to pick one up as well. Karthus going to find one for his trouble, but Rock Boom going to take 3 heads for his trouble. The Saints going to give away the Dragon, but they are going to end up with an ace over Purdue for it.
And they could look towards a 20-minute Baron here. You know, Death Timer's 20 seconds away. No real opportunity for them to look for this. You know, you're missing a little bit of frontline here, but Ricky definitely going to be able to just heal that one up. And with how strong Caitlyn is with the Ivern, you're getting headshots twice as often through these Brushmakers already. So very, very well played. Strong decision-making coming through to just say, we can do Baron, we've got enough damage for this. This is definitely an opportunity for us to turn the tide, and this gold is going to pull Loon off of that.
Yeah, that was exactly, that was perfectly said. Having the Caitlyn there especially makes that Baron play extremely viable, and that you're able to get it off in time. As we see, respawn timers just now hitting. Baron is going to go over to the Saints right after that 20-minute mark, so I think they'll trade 1 Mountain Dragon for an Ace and Baron.
Oh, for sure, and I think realistically it was 3 kills going back over to Rock Boom at the end of that one. Very likely going to be picking up that Infinity Edge soon as well, and we talked about the snowball that can can come through from this bottom side. You know, 70 CS lead, 7-1-4.
Yeah.
So much gold in the Caitlyn's inventory. We take a look at that. Full buy Infinity Edge. Doesn't even need the component. Says, I am going to carry this game. And thus far, they've done exactly that. Rockboom's been an absolute menace over the last couple of weeks. And my goodness, look at that gold lead up to 5,000 gold. That makes up for almost all the gold lead in this entire game.
Yep. Yeah, see the Karthus a little bit ahead of the Ivern there, getting a lot of the gold, especially off that R. Basically, it's infinite money glitch at that point for the Karthus. The more he lands it, just going to put money in the back pocket. But the Saints, as you said, getting very, very far ahead on the goal in general. Rockboom going to fire that R out there, try to get another head, try to take off another head there. And the Saints doing a very, very good job. And the only thing we thought about was maybe Ricky would kind of struggle in this top side, had a rough early game. And now here we are, pretty much even kills and pretty much even gold. So the one thing the Saints were maybe falling behind in, they started to pull ahead in as well.
And of course, we look at the gold difference between the junglers and we say, oh, you know, the Ivern's behind. That's expected, though. Ivern is a support. Your build is still going to reflect that. You're going to have full items. Ricky, though, going to be in trouble against the Soloff.
Yeah, Ricky going to go all the way in. Going to try to get away here. Is going to pop the R. Karthus R is going to come through as well. They're trying to, you know, suck out Ricky here. Going to land another Q. Going to try to get the knockup. Going to land the chains as well. Ricky starting to turn this fight around on Spiral. Going to try to run away here, though. Is going to dash back over the wall. A second member is here. Hydro Knight has walked up Ricky. Down very low. Ignite comes through, and he is going to fall to the Karthus. So try to stack up that Dark Steel, get some more gold in the back pocket. But while all that is going on, the Saints slowly shoving in this mid and this bot wave, looking to possibly take this T3 tower as well. They are stacking up all around this bot side. Rockboom, keep an eye on him sitting up in that top bush, just waiting for some kind of angle to get in there and attack and start laying down the law. Saints are just going to have to back off for the time being. They're going to take half that tower. Ricky falls, unfortunately, but nonetheless, not too big of a loss.
Overall, it is a strong Baron power play nonetheless. I mean, with about a minute left, they've still got a little bit of opportunity to potentially push down another tower, that tier 2 top lane, as you were mentioning. But nonetheless, it's a strong play to just be able to sort of push all these waves and get a little bit more space on the map, invade the jungle, put down a whole bunch of vision. You get a lot off of this Baron. That's sort of implicit. It's not necessarily, you know, a whole bunch of kills going down and you end the game. It's more so just setting yourselves up for the next Baron where you can end the game. You know, that's the power of a 20-minute Baron. It doesn't win you the game every single time, but it can push your advantages to sort of an insurmountable area. Rockboom's shot going to go long way.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. Winning the game at 20 minutes, extremely difficult task. Oh, Bakery Boy, 100-0 on Fard. No chance in hell he's going to survive that one, and Bakery Boy going to easily walk away with yet another kill. And even when it seems like he's been quiet for some of the game, still able to walk up and just 100-0 someone. The Saints, as you said, they're going to try to take this space, start invading these jungles. Race going to be walking this side of Purdue out of their own jungle right now. They see Rockboom winning behind them as well, so very dangerous combination. They're going to try to steal away this blue buff and maybe try to force some kind of fight here in a moment or two. But as you said, use this first Baron, try to get these waves pushed in, take that vision control, start to take these jungle camps and really try to starve this Karthus and the side of Purdue, and doing a very, very good job of it so far. Just playing the macro game, you know, in between all the crazy fights.
Yeah, and I mean, the funny thing there is just, you know, Alonso's just like, hey, give me Gromp, I want this, trying to like be friends with them. Meanwhile, they're just, you know, Caitlyn sniping them down with a big old gun and everything. But nonetheless, it's the Baron power play now done. You can just see Bakery Boy's going to sit on the sideline, be such a menace every single time. Interestingly enough, they opt to use their first strike. The Karthus there on the Wall of Pain gives you about 0 damage. So, you know, you use it and then first strike, bye, see you later. But that means that they won't be popping their ultimate for a little bit, or at least they won't be getting the most out of it. You can just see how much damage the Caitlyn ult does at this point. Rockboom's been absolutely massive. We are approaching very fun landmark here, actually on both sides to an extent. Once it comes through, we'll point it out, but waiting for it. Caitlyn, come on, you can do it. Come on, Rockboom. There's nothing for him to get. He's 97 CS up, almost at the Flame Horizon. On the flip side there, Hydro Knight is about 88 CS up there on the Ivern. Almost has a Flame Horizon the opposite way. More expected from the Karthus over the Ivern, not so much in this matchup. But yeah, Rockboom's able to do that over the wall. Welcome to Caitlyn, everyone.
Of course, and the Saints, they're going to take their third dragon, put them onto Soul Point now, so doing a very good job channeling those leads into map control, into objective control. And as we said, just now going to be on Soul Point at 25 minutes. Going to have the kill lead, going to have the gold lead exactly where they want it. They want Rockboom to have all the gold up 100 CS as things stand right now. Great game by Erase so far as well. He's made his presence very known across every single lane, has been willing, and that's the thing about a support. You have to be willing to die for the cause, and Erase so far, he is willing to get in there, get his hands dirty, and that is exactly the kind of style the Saints like to play in Rockboom. Try to hold this top wave, going to catch it, get that farm up, let Purdue back off this one, and then we'll see how things shape up in a second here. Erase, maybe a little bit too far in there, going to try to get to the Blast Cone, is going to get hooked by the Nautilus, so not going to get to the Blast Cone just in time. TP's going to come in, Blast Cone is going to get him away, but is going to die to the burn damage. Stimple's going to flash in there, going to get, taken down as well. Rockboom, yet again, going to be the one to find the kill. So they're going to take that 1-for-1 as long as we keep Caitlyn fed.
Yeah, support for support at that. And As we mentioned it, yep, Flame Horizon now completed on one side of the matchup there. This Caitlyn has been absolutely menacing, 10 CS per minute, doing everything in their power, just even popping that ultimate on cooldown just to prevent this Karthus from getting first strike proc. Ricky's over the wall.
Yeah, Ricky gonna land the chains, not gonna actually land, gonna avoid the W as well, so Ricky always looking to find that angle to either set up, some kind of crazy play, or if he knows Alonso's coming in on that backside. And honestly, having Rock Boom there, the Saints aren't really gonna be that afraid to take a lot of these long-range fights, especially if Rock Boom can just sit back there, click away with that rifle, and start to take heads off. And the Saints, slowly but surely, just trying to put this pressure on, waiting for these objective timers to probably ring around. Baron's going to be up in 10, so maybe try to get vision around the river, try to force something for there. Soul Point is going to be up in 3.5 minutes as well, so it's going to start to play their options as the game goes on here.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a rough situation for the side of Purdue here, where they're not really afforded a lot of opportunities to just be able to find these even fights. Every single time, it just feels like they're getting poked out a little bit too much from the LeBlanc, from the Caitlyn, from the get-go, and then they're not really forced into a strong situation. As you can see, Bakery Boy just bullying in this mid lane, just looking for as much damage as possible. My goodness.
Yeah, finding a lot of damage. Everfrost, he's going to dodge as well. He's going to get dive back in by the Silas. Karthusar is going to come through. Is he going to be able to find the kill? As you said, though, perfectly timed popping the shield with Ziamumu. I believe popping the Shirelli is there. Going to keep Bakery Boy alive for the time being, not give any more gold over to Purdue. Tried to maintain this lead as long as possible, and maybe try to set up a Baron play here. If not, they're going to at least try to invade this top side jungle maybe, but looks like they are going to try to set up for Baron. And the Saints, they're more than happy to sit on Baron and probably force a 5v5 fight.
Interestingly enough, what they're able to do is, the locket is one option on the Amumu. They didn't even burn it there. They used the Ivern there. They used the Ivern shield to block up the Bakery Boy's damage as well. So, we can hit onto a vulnerable target. Oh my, look at this fight.
Yeah, huge skirmish in this jungle here. Bakery Boy gonna find first blood on Simples there. One support out of the equation. Ricky gonna be tagged down very low. Spiral Claw's gonna find that. Rock Boom getting far to 1 HP, not gonna quite find the kill. Curtain Call comes up. Bakery Boy gonna find a double kill. Erase, eating all of these Jin shots like it's just a little tickle gun. Not gonna do enough damage to really back him off there. And the Saints should be able to get Baron out of this as well for that.
I mean, it's 4.5 items on the Caitlyn. You expect her to be doing a whole bunch of damage there, making a stink out of Bard there at the end. I'm sorry, I've been waiting to use that one all game. And I'm like, I gotta use it at some point or I'll laugh. I can, okay, most of the time you can keep your composure.
Listen.
This one is just like, okay, it's too different.
There's only one. Listen, it's all good. Saints gonna get buried for their trouble there, so we're not gonna make a big stink out of that fight as well. So the Saints, as we said, gonna find the Baron there. Still gonna be on Soul Point, gonna be up in 1.5 minutes. Once again, kind of the story of yesterday. Bakery Boy really starting to come online now. Ricky just solidly holding down that top lane. Now has quietly creeped up to a 40-ish CS lead. Obviously, even the Ivern, the Ivern down double the CS, but not what he's there for, is to farm. Caitlyn just so far ahead right now. That's the thing for the Saints, though. If they keep Caitlyn alive, there's like a 0% chance they lose any of these fights, so it's going to be hard for Purdue to try to chain in on that Caitlyn, either steal the Amumu R, try to lock everybody down, try to find some play to get back in the game, but just like yesterday, they're going to be in for a long game. Oh, look at that damage. Wow.
Gonna make sure Jin isn't able to stay in this fight for long.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to deal with a Caitlyn that is this fed, just walking up, no fear. Look at the damage they're doing to a Nautilus.
Yeah, Everfrost gonna come in. Bakery Boy gonna be in a very bad way. Is somehow gonna find the kill onto the Silas, though, so when it looks lost, gonna get shielded. Karthusar gonna come through, able to find a kill, not able to find anything. Tower is going to fall as well. W's gonna land, get a stun up erase for the time being. Saints are still gonna walk this one in. They are gonna find the kill onto Bakery Boy. So Bakery Boy, he lived that 1 HP enough times. It was about time for him to finally fall, but not before he's able to pick up a couple kills for himself yet again. And the Saints, happy with that pressure, trade 1 for 1. We're gonna back off, go play for Soul Pointer, and then they're really gonna try to put the screws to Purdue.
Yeah, and Bakery Boy distorted in. They should have expected the damage to come through. I believe it was just Jin dropping down a bouncing grenade, making sure they were able to find that one. But look at this. Overall, it's still this Caitlyn pumping out so much damage. Beginning of that fight, it's a Nautilus who is building as tanky as possible. Granted, looking at the build,
how tanky? I was gonna say.
Tank in quotes there. It's level 17 on this Caitlyn. She's just doing so much damage. Look at the damage she's putting out.
Ricky deleting Simples once again, the first one to fall in these team fights, and the Saints are gonna snowball this one. Rock Boom gonna find 2, looking for a 3rd. He's got 3 on the board, and the Saints are going to wipe off 3 members. Gonna be 4 members of Purdue there, and they're gonna try to walk this one right into the base, destroy this Nexus, and move Purdue onto Game 2 in TLS. Having a little bit of a solo dance party in front of the Nexus. I believe he's starting to know what time it is. Rock Boom absolutely outplays, gonna find his 4th kill there of that fight, and that is gonna be all she wrote in Game 1, picking up where they left off a race, filling in beautifully in that support role, and once again, it is quite simply a bot diff.
Oh my goodness, Rockboom is so good at this video game sometimes, you know.
It's a treat to watch him.
12-1-6, just absolutely putting the hammer down on to the enemy bot lane there, and overall just incredible gameplay coming through from Rockboom once again. Every single it's almost an expectation at this point that we come in and we're gonna have Rockboom show up and show out, and that is exactly what we saw there. That Caitlyn, just what a treat.
I know that, and that's the beautiful thing. We thought maybe there'd be a slightly different performance swapping in the support. You know, it can be a very big change having a new dual partner. Yeah, but as you said, an ADC knows what the ADC wants, and if I'm Erased playing in that role, he knows just lock down for this Caitlyn. I would just want to get Giga fed as easily as possible, and Rockboom, no matter who you put with him, no matter what champion he pulls out, this guy just performs. And say not that the rest of the team was a slack. Ricky pulled himself up for that bootstraps in that top lane. Bakery Boy. Super, like, I cannot believe teams will still give away Bakery Boys LeBlanc after everything they've seen, although that's a tough thing. The Saints have so many champs to pull from. Who do you ban away? There's 10, 15 viable options, so you're going to have to give something somewhere, and the Saints took everything that game from Purdue.
Exactly. I mean, if we're able to pull up the damage charts as well, we're going to get a little bit more of a gauge on just how well Bakery Boy did there. I mean, 35,000 damage, more than the Karthus, which is, I think, the biggest thing. Karthus gets, 2,000, 3,000 damage every time they press R. Yeah. And, you get a whole bunch of isolation damage as well. Normally, you're expecting the Karthus to be the highest damage in the game, even in a losing effort, but nonetheless, Bakery Boy was just pumping out 900, 1,000, 1.1k crits coming through at the end of that game. And, Nautilus, did their best, but as we said, Nautilus is a champion that can go in, and when you aren't afforded the agency to just go in at will, you are going to do 3,000 damage in a game like that, and teams just please stop drafting Nautilus, please.
Yeah, and I think a big part of the Nautilus issue there as well. He was either getting picked first or he would get in. That's fine and dandy. If you don't find that first blood right away off that first hook, you are a sitting duck, and he is a rather large target for that Caitlyn to hit. It's like shooting fish in a barrel there for the Kate. So that's pretty much as free as it gets. But fantastic job by the Saints picking up where they left off yesterday. Such a good job, and they're going to take game one off Purdue there. And with that being said, we are going to throw it to I'll say a very quick break. It'll be probably about 10-ish minutes to get the draft reset and everything, get everybody back into the lobby. But the Saints looking to close out the series in just a few minutes. And welcome back, and everybody, from that game one. St. Clair, once again, very, very good job. Had the game pretty much in control most of the way. Was able to knock off Purdue in pretty similar fashion to what we saw yesterday. So now the curious thing, as we saw yesterday as well, though, are we going to see 10 new champions again, or are we going to see a little bit of the run it back from the Saints?
I think there's some things that they can definitely run it back. I think yesterday especially, they had a set of bands that came through from MBU, and then it was a completely different set of bands coming through, which facilitated that. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case this time around for St. Clair once again. I'm just going to keep it simple. Pick their own champions and ban out the same ones as before. Very likely we're going to see a very similar bands. The Udi are going to be taken off the table. The Caitlyn, of course, has to be removed from Purdue because Rock Boom, that was a performance.
Yeah, and I mean, the tape was there on him playing the Caitlyn for a long time. So again, we called out the Jinx ban being maybe a little bit questionable, depending, especially on the state of the game right now. But Caitlyn ban going to go through, going to see the Fiora ban, and as you said before, Fiora ban most likely means Ricky going to try to lean toward that Aatrox, the champion he's comfortable with, and the most meta top champion in the game, and then Maokai banned out for the other side. So
yeah, no surprises in terms of the bans once again. I mean, it must be some sort of fear of the Maokai as well. We know how strong that champion can be coming through in a bunch of different roles, and especially with the race sort of filling in support there. You know, you could just say, here's Maokai support, you know, do your thing, press W, go in, press ultimate, you make it work as well. The Silas actually going to be taken off the table from the side of Saints. They did not want to see that come through from TL. It wasn't the best of performances from the Purdue mid laner there, but it is a very annoying champion that you have to keep in mind at all times, you know, being able to steal away ultimates. You can't really pick as aggressive champions that you want to, but of course Yuumi, going to be taken off the table once again. No, in a lot of worlds, we didn't get to see a great performance coming through from Simples. I think they, in that sense, maybe it's just like Yuumi block at that, because honestly, Simples would probably do quite well in the Yuumi as well in that sense.
Most people would.
Most people. we can talk about how much we dislike Yuumi in a lot of ways. But Aatrox's first pick, never seen this one before. Wow, what a shocker.
Meta-defining pick here from the Saints. This will be the new gold standard going forward as far as top lane matchups are concerned. Obviously, we're joking. Aatrox probably the #1 most picked top champ. And then Jack's going to be picked on the other side there. So nice little play into the Aatrox. Very solid top laner as well. And trying to, you know, stop Ricky from snowballing in. We are going to see the Karthus yet again come through for Purdue there.
And I think the Karthus was a really strong point coming through from Purdue. Fine. You know, I think you have this chance to just go solo AP in that regard. It really makes itemization difficult for a lot of people to deal with Karthus overall. The Jax into the Aatrox is a matchup that we've seen multiple times at Worlds as well. You know, it gives you that sort of agency to jump out, jump in whenever you need to. Aatrox lacks a little bit of mobility. It's weird to say that because he's gotten more mobility than most top laners, but Jax is one of those odd cases where you have a little bit more. You're able to maneuver that lane a little bit more. And of course, the Ivern coming through from Alonso, you know, this is starting to become a staple of his in a lot of ways. We saw the Trundle early on into the season. Now we're sort of seeing the transition into this Ivern.
The Trundle was so... I forget how dominant he was on Trundle. I feel like it was years ago at that point. It was only just over a month ago. And now, obviously, as you said, playing the Ivern so well and going to be the Azir blind pick mid. Maybe the best blind mid right now in the entire game, especially considering Silas is off the board. So I think we've seen Baker Boy on the Azir several times. I'm sure we had the last couple weeks. So a champ he feels good about and a very strong one nonetheless. So we are going to see the Y1 or the Yone coming through for Purdue there.
My influence is growing, turning people from Yone people to Y1 people. But nonetheless, it is a matchup that can work quite well. You know, you have the snapback potential. So even if you get shuffled, you have a potential to sort of negate that and say, no, you jump back to your shadow and all of that. But you know, with the bot lanes untouched thus far, Tristana Ben coming through, this is no surprise.
Good for them.
Yeah, you know, we were watching games beforehand, and we saw Rockboom on the Tristana. It wasn't L, but nonetheless, he did really well on it. Might have been just a factor.
We saw him early in the year on the Trist. You don't want to give that man Cater Trist. Those are probably, I would say right now, probably his top 2 champions. Tristana, 100%. I'd even say he's probably his #1 champ. I know what we just saw with the Caitlyn the last 2 days, but Tristana has been probably his strongest champion. We're going to see the Nautilus ban coming through. So regardless how you feel about that champion, we all maybe have our thoughts on some of these champs, but is going to be banned out, and we are going to see the Amumu banned out for the other side. So Amumu, very annoying to deal with. Purdue don't want to touch it with their hands.
Yeah, and I mean, it's another engaged support sort of banned off the table here. It sort of tells me that they want to move towards an Enchantress style at that.
Yeah, Leona gone too.
I mean, St. Clair maybe wants to match in that regards. It's a little bit interesting, though, to see the Nautilus ban. Realistically, that champion's not worth the ban. You just shouldn't pick it. Just don't touch it. Just leave it go.
Maybe this is a series of off-meta bans.
Yeah, just leave it in the ocean where it belongs. You know, just don't bring it out. You can have a champion ocean, should not include
no life preserver. Yeah, no help, no water rings,
no help for you.
And as you said,
going to be picked up. Yeah, Enchantress, exactly as we were talking about there. It's an option to sort of change the pace of the game here, and realistically, I think St. Clair can even match that on the bot side. A lot of the times you can just sort of go Enchantress versus Enchantress, because a lot of engaged supports struggle against the likes of Lulu. It's exactly what we see here with the Soraka. Yeah,
and I say, considering 3 of the best engaged champs, even though Nautilus is kind of are going to be out of the game, we're probably going to see those Enchanters come through, as you said. Lulu going to be Soraka, answer for the other side, and now the ADC matchup, I'll be very curious to see what each team's going to go with. Going to see Sivir, so haven't seen too much Sivir recently, I think after a couple nerfs and just kind of falling out of the meta just a little bit, but going to see Sivir and Soraka, and I would guess maybe something like Twitch paired with the Lulu, that would make the most sense to me. I mean, I feel like that's the most meta pick. And we'll be leaving.
That's an interesting one there, nonetheless. I mean, the Jinx getting picked up there, there are some different options that you can go for with the
You mean better?
Lulu. Better options, straight up. And I mean, I think Kog'Maw Lulu is one of those, you know, Twitch Lulu would definitely be another situation, especially into the Sivir. I'm thinking about it now. Sivir's able to block off that Karthus ultimate with the spell shield as well. You really have that agency to sort of just get out of jail free a lot of times on top of the heals that you're getting from Soraka. Soraka is literally inverse Karthus. There's been like so many Reddit threads about it. You know, you talk about Karthus dealing damage to everyone. You know, Requiem versus Wish. What do you want at that? But nonetheless, what we want is to get onto the Rift. Very excited to see how this game 2 goes, and already a little bit of cheese cooking up. Smells good.
Yeah, now very curious to see how these matchups are going to play out. Going to see some variation from the first game, which is always fun to see. Going to see the top laners going to be pretty similar. They're the Saints. Once again, going to go 5-man toward this top side, and Purdue holding that line of scrimmage on the bot side. See if the Saints want to maybe try to get some deep vision here, try to make some kind of play. But Purdue, and Purdue is not even moving an inch off that line of scrimmage. They're not really trying to invade late. Maybe they try to stack up late and figure something out, but Saints are going to go all the way in. Spiral Claws has to see it. He's going to have to back away. He is going to escape just barely there. So the Saints going to back him off. Maybe take the recall here, at least to get a ward down next to that buff, though.
And interestingly enough, we see that the Jinx and the Lulu opt not to move into that bot side quadrant. They're not going to get any of that information down. You can even see there, he's actually pinging out the Ignite on the Jax as well. So going to be Ignite for both of these top laners.
That should be fun.
Oh, they're going to be duking it out hardstyle up there. Going to be throwing all the fists possible and the fire at that. I think seeing the Ghost come through this game makes a lot more sense. There's a lot less crowd control to deal with now on Rock Boom. Then again, last game, when they took the Ghost, didn't matter. You didn't have to cleanse anything. The Nautilus was a non-factor in that game. So also good to see Erase opt for the heal. It is something that we've seen more often. We'll sometimes see Barrier come through from Soraka's as well, just to make sure that they have enough effective health in some of these more bursty trades. But we'll have to see how this game turns out. Once again, Wish versus Requiem, what's going to end up prevailing?
And I think Ghosts for both of these champs make sense. You're trying to play for those backline, trying to kite on the outside, trying to play for those resets off the kill. So makes sense for both of the champs. TL going to get some tags up early in the mid lane here with Bakery Boy. Try to put some early pressure on, and I think that's going to be one of the keys for Purdue, is trying to keep as much pressure as possible. The Saints, they're just able, even if they fell behind in that top lane early, able to just snowball these leads, play so aggressive in these lanes, and do a phenomenal job keeping the lane shoved in. And I mean, Sivir, it's about as lane bully as you can possibly get, and just trying to, if you can wear Jinx out of that mana, get her a little bit lower. She has a little bit less HP than in previous patches, so she definitely has her vulnerabilities. Just have to play around it properly.
Yeah, and she's definitely a lane bully specifically into this matchup.
Yeah.
You know, you're just able to throw out your Boomerang Blade on repeat. What is this Jinx supposed to do? She's going to throw back a rocket and deal maybe an auto attack's worth of damage there. Not going to be really too much in that sense. So Rock Boom, even then, opting for an even safer route, you know, looking for, I don't want to say safer, I want to say more aggressive actually, in that where you go for the call, you say, I don't need any of those stats from Dorn's Blade, I don't need, you know, the longsword to build into anything. I want as much value as possible out of this lane. So going to be opting to get that gold generation in the bot side to start us off. And Erase, you can see, already playing really, really aggressively with how many procs they're getting. Granted, it is at the cost of their health, so they're starting to take a little bit more damage than I think they want to. But this top lane matchup, it'll get fun pretty quick. Oh my.
Ricky is going to land the chains, going to land that second Q as well. Maybe going to try to make a play here, but not going to, you know, potentially waste burning the flash, getting turned on with the Ignite. The Rock Boom is going to take a tower shot there, so going to be tagged on to about half HP. 1 HP. Going to just get away. Rock Boom trying to find that early kill. And I'll tell you what, that would have been a very detrimental kill for Purdue. They're very lucky to get away with that one. Hold the lane in serve for the time being, and say that's the key. Keep St. Clair's bot lane off of you as much as possible, but we're going to see Rock Boom already going to slowly try to build up that CS lead, and he's already going to be up 10, just say 2-3 minutes in here.
Exactly, and you can see that the Jinx, you know, sort of had a little bit of a scare there in terms of just being able to stay alive. Oh, so just behind the curtains there, the Valorant player next door popping off for us there, but nonetheless, you can see just how much of an advantage Rock Boom is already able to establish themselves. Pushing forward aggressive. My goodness.
Ignite is going to go on Ricky. Should be able to escape her. Yeah, not going to be quite low enough HP. Is going to get the flash out of there, though, so going to get both sums out of Spiral. Ricky, very dangerous play there, but he is going to go get both sums out of Spiral there, so maybe they can try to set up some kind of gank there. We know Alonso likes to be very, very proactive in all of these lanes. He will not hesitate to come to Ricky's aid from the Saints. Just going to try to take control of these lanes now, push them in as we're used to seeing, and try to make some kind of play in Erase. Going to walk to this mid lane, going to step on a ward there, so TL is going to be aware of it. Going to have to clear that one out and then probably just take a stroll back to the bot side.
If we want to look at the CS differences as well, Ricky did force Spiral Claws out of lane. That is why they were so low. They were pushing their advantages a little bit too hard. Was forced to burn the flash, but both summoners burned off of Spiral Claws. It still leads to more of an advantage coming through from Ricky. Same thing on the bottom side of the map. A really nice reset coming through. Double longsword compared to just a single longsword coming through on the side of Rock Boom there. Going to try and push forward that advantage even further. That extra 10 AD could really mean the difference between this Jinx being able to stay alive, or the Rock Boom being able to collect a kill for himself. And we know what Rock Boom can do if they're able to get money in their pockets. They're able to just snowball out of control, push their advantages even further. And thus far in this early game, despite it being incredibly slow, no kills yet, still a 500 gold advantage. That's just through that laning powerhouse.
Yeah, and that's a tricky thing with playing Jinx is that if you don't get ahead early in the game, it takes almost a flawless game to bring it back, especially against a bully like Sivir that's already going to be ahead of you in gold, already going to be, I mean, look at the CS already, the difference. I know it's early in the game, but that lead is probably only going to grow and grow unless Purdue starts to really put attention to that bot side. Alonso just going to miss the mark there last second, and that's the problem. Saints are going to put so much pressure on this bot side. If Purdue isn't able to make it up as quickly or as easily as they want, they're just going to end up being behind 50, 60 CS potentially, and then you're fighting into a losing battle, pretty much guaranteed unless you get some kind of jungle or roam support. So maybe relying on your team to really link up and try to make some plays here for them later in the game.
And realistically, both of these supports are not going to be the greatest roamers. It's going to be a lot of lane locks, 2v2 action there. Look at the CS difference though. My goodness, there's 19 CS on the Jinx here.
That's what we said. It's just it's so tough.
It's a tough matchup.
It's so tough.
Yeah. It's really tough in this matchup, but I mean, we've just seen Rockboom continue to push that forward. Yes, it's going to be supplemented slightly here from the fact that there's a really big wave coming into that Jinx there, but it's still a massive advantage. Even topside, look at this.
Yeah, Ricky going to try to land the chains here. Spiral, got some help from Hydra. Ricky is going to turn the fight. Ignite, going to pop the R, and is going to get first blood there. So Ricky, with the help of Alonso, going to find the kill. They're going to go in on Hydra here, going to land the Q, get the knockup. Is going to get the flash out of Hydra at least. So beautiful play topside by the Saints. Going to find the kill, get some summoners burn, get this wave crash, and potentially take a plate as well. And then Rockboom trying to put in work on this bot side. Landing the Q, landing the W as well. Trying to put everything through. He's going to be low HP though. Has to be very careful here, Rockboom. Have to back up just a little bit here. Make sure he doesn't want to give that kill to the Jinx. The only way, that's the only way the Saints lose this lane is if they feed the Jinx early, get her a lot of gold in her back pocket, and let her try to get ahead. If you just play smart, able to go race, it's going to stop the back there. Very risky play there to go one-on-one with the Yone as a Soraka, but he's going to hit that tether back in just a second here. Blastcone's going to be hit, and then he will take that tether back. So Erase, as we said, not really a roaming champion, but Erase at least is going to go show some presence, stop the back, delay that wave push just a little bit. And honestly, that's as good of a play as you can make with a roaming Soraka.
Yeah, and honestly, I just want to point out that all of these plays around the map, all these advantages are coming off the fact that it is getting cold in here with all these lanes getting frozen. I mean, a great freeze held by Ricky for the longest time there. Was level 6 to the level 4 of the Jax. It's so difficult to break through there. And bought the Cull as an answer. An interesting choice there, but nonetheless, Ricky now going to be sitting with a serrated dirk and the plated steel caps compared to a whole bunch of nothing coming through from Spiral Claws thus far. It means this advantage, already 2,000 gold, despite it only being one kill. A lot of that is off of the gold that Erase has been able to collect around the map with their support quest, that Rockboom's been able to just pick up through getting bonus gold off of killing every minion to get an extra gold with the Cull. And, you know, you're building up that goose egg for yourself to build a nest on, basically. Build your lead on, and in the mid lane, even still, a little bit of a CS advantage for Bakery Boy, but across the map, everything is going the Saints' way thus far. Really worried about Purdue because they're already starting to fall behind the curve here with only one kill on the board. Yeah, they're going to have to try to find some way once again to get back into this game. Ricky on that top side is going to be a very big problem for them because they're either going to have to focus their resources top side, meaning this bot lane that's already decently ahead as far as CS and things go, are going to just have an easier time snowballing, knowing that, hey, if they're going to go take out Ricky, we can just shove this bot wave as long as possible, collect these plates, put this gold into our back pocket, and then let the rest of the game play out as it may. And as you said, Bakery Boy slowly increasing that CS lead as well. Ricky having a couple level lead there as well, and say it's all going to come down to this bot lane, I think, and say already up 30 CS and Rockboom just waiting for that opportunity, that window to try to find that kill and really open the game up for the Saints. It's been so difficult for the side of Purdue to find any advantages. I mean, a lot of this just comes down to the fact that their jungler doesn't gank. You know, it's Karthus who's just going to keep farming, and it gives you these opportunities to find these neutrals, but when you're not able to push the neutrals too far in your advantage, it becomes difficult. Like, picking up this Herald is a great sign for Purdue. You want to try and get this first tower as quickly as possible, but it's traded on the opposite side of the map. You know, Dragon's being taken by the side of St. Clair once again. They're going to start to stack that up for themselves, and while you get a Herald, it's not always guaranteed money that you're able to pick up off of that. You need to make sure you're finding plates as that response, and not always a possibility with these Heralds, and you know, especially when your top lane's down 25 CS, and they're just going to slam it right down. You know, Ricky has the opportunity to look for a kill here. They've got kill trap. Yeah, Ricky is going to go on Spiral there. Hydra Knight is going to walk up on the backside there. Shuffle is going to come through, knocking TL out of the play. The Saints are going to collapse. Alonso there. Bakery Boy there as well. Spiral looking worse for wear is going to fall. Ricky still trying to put in work. You're trying to chase down the side of Purdue. Going to get the flash out of the Yone. Going to go in once again. Find another kill. Alonso picking up his second. The Saints going to go 2 for 0 in that top side jungle. Karthus are going to come through. Not going to be able to quite find that kill. Simple. Jinx is going to land that rocket and find that kill. So going to find 2 kills there on the Jinx. Exactly what they needed to try to get back into this lane and try to get that lead going. Yeah, and I think we should have conditions to our statements at least. Jinx is not a good champion unless she's able to start to snowball the game, and that's exactly what happens. It seems like Rock Boom and Race, they extend a little bit too far, they get a little bit too greedy, and they get punished there. I think a lot of that just came down to Simple's ultimate on themselves, the Wild Growth, keeping them alive with a sliver and just barely turning the tides of that fight. Of course, on the top side though, well played. The Candyman gets hungry from time to time. Alonso picks up a couple of kills for themselves. That Dark Seal gonna be looking real good, Belager, with those 4 stacks.
Yeah, and Ricky now gonna have the Scepter as well. Gonna add that extra longsword. So Ricky gonna be an absolute nightmare in this top lane for Spyro to deal with. Pretty much, I mean, he's not gonna be able to solo Ricky at all. He's gonna need help pretty much the rest of the game here. Have to try to find some plays, either roaming or otherwise, trying to help stack up those objectives. Once again, gonna see a Race roaming the mid lane, either try to clear some wards here in this top side, get some vision control. Gonna go in TL, gonna try to land the knockup though. Bakery Boy gonna answer a little bit there with some damage, at least to get back into the lane here, and you know, help his friendly Race get out of there safely without any damage coming through. Ricky gonna drop the chains, land the Q. Chains aren't gonna connect though. Spiral is gonna get away, but Ricky once again gonna be able to take advantage of this wave and get a lot more CS lead.
An interesting to point out about Ricky as well. Game 1, Gore Drinker build. Game 2, look at this. Eclipse coming through from Ricky, looking a little bit more aggressive, trying to take advantage of this Jax matchup that they've already got a really strong handle on. You know, up 30 CS. It's preventing this Jax from doing anything here. This wave going to get pushed in. If it's not held by the Karthus, it's, you know, a wave and a couple minions there as well going by the wayside. Hydra Knight's going to try and clean that one up, but once again, popping the first strike on the wall. They get a little bit of bonus gold off the back end of it, but not much to speak of. And now a Race even coming up to this top side just to pick up another plate, trying to get as much gold into Ricky's pocket as possible.
Yeah, and at least delay that back of Karthus a little bit longer. Rock Boom gonna get dove on there and pull in Fard, gonna try to dive him in there, try to find some damage. Rock Boom not too strong in the mana department there, so gonna have to pick his spots wisely there. TL still trying to crash in this midway. Bakery Boy doing an excellent job. Pretty even farm, but just to keep up there, has the 2 assists, so a little bit of extra gold in his back pocket, trying to fight off the Yone there. And see, now we're starting to see the tides turn in this bot lane just a little bit. You can see now Purdue realizing they have the advantage. Rock Boom try to run for his life here. WQ's gonna land. Is gonna get the heal off there, and is gonna be able to walk away though. Still trying to proxy this wave as Purdue, and honestly, this is how they have to use the advantage. Polymorph's gonna land. Gonna land a combo. Simple gonna try to find Luke. He's gonna find that kill top lane. They're not gonna find the kill. Rock Boom sidesteps the Death Rocket. Gonna be 1 HP. Rock Boom just gonna survive there, getting very, very lucky. And Purdue, now you can easily see they got this slightly, but Bakery Boy, as you said, is walking in the wings. Top side, still a lot of action. Ricky gonna find yet another one. And now Hydra trying to back off Bakery Boy here, trying to collapse on the spot side. But Purdue, they are gonna be able to take this tower for the trouble at least, so they're gonna get something out of the spot lane. And as we said, when you get Jinx ahead, you have to do everything in your power to keep the lead and to snowball it as quick as possible, because it can be very bad. Tower's gonna fall, so will Rock Boom. Gonna drop off there, gonna be that 3rd kill onto the Jinx. Luckily, Ricky taking care of business on the top side to try to even things out.
Yeah, it's good to see them get some cross-map trade there. I wanted to point out Bakery Boy because they looked like they were rotating down but ran into the Karthus at the least opportune time. Nonetheless, Bakery Boy going to get some plates, you know, full plates going over to Ricky on that top side of the map as well. They've done such a good job of playing around their top side this time around. It's sort of the inverse. They flipped the map upside down. They said, you know, bot is top, top is bot, and there we go. Nonetheless, you know, despite the fact that Sarah is down now compared to the Jinx in terms of effectiveness on the map, in terms of gold and everything, I'm still not too worried, because we've seen time and time again Rock Boom has been able to sort of survive these situations and make a name for themselves in a race.
The Race trying to survive that situation is barely going to walk away with his life there. TL being very, very aggressive in this mid lane, trying to find these picks. Beautiful Death Rocket from way downtown. Fard gonna find it there. That's gonna be his 4th kill of the game. Just trying to keep putting this gold in his back pocket, keep this bot lane snowballing as quick as possible, and just beautifully timed R there to connect in the mid lane.
Yeah, making sure not to shit the bed this time around on this Jinx with those kills, but nonetheless, I only end up laughing because I see the reactions. I see the reactions and I'm like, okay, come on. Nonetheless, it's 4-0 on the Jinx. They are starting to become really strong and become a little bit of a thorn in the side of St. Clair, because nonetheless, a lot of the times with these hyper carries, it doesn't matter how fed the rest of your team can be. Jinx is just able to sit there, shooting away, firing down on all cylinders, and you're able to win a lot of these fights that you really shouldn't have any right to. So even this Dragon is going to be a little bit more difficult, because this Jinx, you know, 4-0 right now, you give over a couple more kills, you give over a little bit more gold, then she becomes even more of an issue. Yeah,
the Saints, that's the one thing they do have to watch now. Ricky gonna jump over the wall, is gonna get polymorphed. They're gonna go all the way in. Shuffle's gonna land. Bakery Boy, absolutely 100-0. Simple is gonna fall. And now that should open up the pit for the Saints to take their 2nd dragon. So you're right. They don't want to fight with the Jinx, but if they can find that pick to at least back off Purdue from the fight, they'll absolutely take it. Spiral is going to trade this top side tower at least, but the Saints more than happy to take that second dragon around the 15-minute mark here. And again, if they're able to deal with the Jinx, they should have a pretty easy handle on the rest of the game, but as you said, those hyper carries can be nasty to deal with, especially Jinx getting the reset off those kills, having the ghost in her back pocket for certain fights there. Going to be very interesting. And you can see they were a lot more hesitant to take that fight just knowing that Jinx was somewhere in the proximity.
Realistically, it's just finding a one pick there. You know, a decent amount of investment used. You know, it's the Shurima shuffle. It's everything, or the Aatrox is everything basically. They're trying to get into that back line as well. But nonetheless, Alonso just going to keep trying to put down some pressure here. Daily moving forward aggressively. Look at this. Jinbar's in trouble.
3-man dive bot. They are going to get the knockup, and Jinx is going to fall. That's going to be some gold in Ricky's back pocket. Beautiful job to get the shutdown there, and that is exactly. I think at this point, that's who you want to get the gold into at this point, Ricky. He's already so far ahead. Just feed the Aatrox, get him as beefy as possible, get him dealing a whack load of damage. Rockboom is going to sidestep the R there, so great job to get out of trouble. Not give any gold over to the Yone, but and the Saints at the same time going to shove this bot side tower and just trying to play off map control. Baker Boy is going to go in, maybe try to contest the Herald, but not going to make it quite in time. Going to dash in, find lots of damage. Spiral still trying to escape here. Going to drop the control ward in the bush, trying to get the thing. Oh, flash comes through, 1 HP. Baker Boy is going to flash to secure the kill, so beautiful job to match the summoner spells, find that kill. And in mid lane, Rockboom, someone going to find the kill into TL, and he will walk away with his life, although Karthus has another idea. Are going to land, and no worse for wear, having Soraka and the shield on your back, you will be just fine. And the Saints, once again, control. Yet again, shooting 100% from the field. Fard going to find yet another death rocket. So just hawking these things mid lane and finding value left and right. Purdue, that's been their one saving grace so far, at least.
Yeah, stinky surprise for Rockboom in that.
I mean, only one with kills is Jinx. I just looked. It's the only one with kills on their team.
It's only Jinx. She's the only one who's alive there, but of course, giving a little bit of a fart bomb to that mid lane for Rockboom going down once again. Really difficult to sort of find momentum when this Jinx is consistently able to find advantage after advantage after advantage, and it's going to be difficult as this game progresses. I'm curious to see what that next item, though, coming through from the Jinx is going to be, because you've got this Kraken Slayer, you've got the Zeal plus a dagger. There's worlds where, you know, Runons can come back, sort of be, hey, I'm showing up, I've got multiple rockets for you, but very likely going to be that rapid fire cannon.
Yeah.
It kind of feels bad sometimes on Jinx to have to go for that, but we'll see what they end up going for. Phantom Answer technically an option, but oh my goodness.
Bit off a lot there. Chains are going to land. Polymorph's going to go through. Ricky R is going to land as well. TP is going to come in backside. Ricky going to start to swing this fight. Going to have the flash on and find the kill. TL, very questionable 1v1 there. Ricky completely dominated the first half. One member comes to help. Bakery Boy going to chase Hydra into the mid lane. Ricky going to get that double kill, and Bakery Boy going to slice and dice through Hydra. That'll be 3 on the board for the Saints in that fight, and just like that, when Jinx isn't around, everybody's willing and able to fight. And without her being there, there is a 0% chance Purdue can win these fights. And look how far the Saints are already shoved into the base at just 17 minutes, and they're going to get the flash out of the Jinx as well. So,
yeah, when the battle cat's away, or the Birds will play. You know, Bakery Boy got something baked up there. Said Bird is the word, able to find another kill on the side of that. But Ricky is the man of the hour there on these Aatrox. This Darkin refuses to relent there, showing how hot this champion can be up on that top side. 6-0-3.
Yeah.
It is so challenging to deal with an Aatrox this fed. Despite this Jax just perma-split pushing on the side lane, Saints don't care. They've still got a pretty solid lead for themselves. You know, Rockboom's just been shoving in mid lane on repeat. Yes, you're going to have to answer to this Jax at some point. The time is not now. Going to find some resets here before they try and set out for this next Dragon. Dragon and Baron spawning at the same time, so a poor fight at Dragon could mean both of those objectives fall the way of St. Clair if it goes their way, or it could be the opposite way if Purdue are able to find those as well.
Yeah, we're seeing Alonso getting that Darksteel staff, slowly creeping up to that 10 mark. Bakery Boy, once again, doing a phenomenal job, just holding down the mid lane. Super solid scoreline. Purdue is going to drop second Herald here in this mid lane, try to end up taking this tower. Rockboom is going to be here to show, has to be careful though. A lot of members are knocking up there. TL gonna dive in there. Lulu gonna try to find some damage. It's gonna get tagged up a lot. Rockboom might be able to find the kill here, actually. Gonna get the dash. Does find the kill on the Simple. Simples biting off more than he could chew. You know, should have backed off with the Yone, realizing that maybe wasn't the play, but got a little bit greedy for that tower. Tower doesn't fall, and the Saints get the kill as well, so slightly miscue there from Purdue. And Ricky, once again, not afraid to go and gonna chase Hydra off that red buff. Chains are going to miss, but he's nonetheless going to go for the dive. Lands the first Q. Trying to land the combo. Alonso's there, so Ricky's going to find this kill. Easily going to find the kill. Going to walk through Hydra there. And yet again, another kill into Ricky's pocket. And the Saints, good shuffle. Gonna knock back the Jinx out of the play there just for a time being. They are going to be able to crash this tower, move in one more wave here, and already at 20 minutes, it looks like it's going to be a Dragon, potentially maybe a Baron, and the Saints are going to look to slowly put the squeeze on this base.
And you can see Spiral Claw still just trying to find any advantages that they can on the opposite side of the map. They're currently pushing towards that tier 3 top side, but looks like St. Clair, once again, not really finding at that, you know, sort of kind of a base race, but not really, because look at this, a huge wave coming through. They might just end the game off of this.
Yeah, the Saints, I actually think they might end the game. Jax not going to hit the recall as well. He's not going to have time. First turret's going to fall. Jax going to take a turret. They are actually trying to base race, it looks like. Arg's going to go through, going to have to back up the Saints. They're going to slowly try to crash this Nexus. Jax still not taking his recall, still in the base. Saints trying to chunk down these towers, getting a lot of damage. As Ricky as well doing a great job frontlining, and the split push is going to go completely backwards for Purdue. Rockbom's going to find a kill. He's going to find 2. Ricky finds 1. Karthasar going to be too little too late. The Saints are going to base race at 20 minutes and take Purdue out in game 2. What an ending.
What? Huh? That's all we can react to with that one, because Purdue opted for a base race.
The Jax not recalling is a head scratcher. Like, split pushing is fine. Once you take that tower, maybe take an inhibitor, you got to get out of dodge, man. He just said, nope, we're going to base race. I know it's 5v4 down there. I know there's a huge wave crashing in, but you know what? I'm going to split push and try to take this one out, and that was a play. That was a play you could make.
Out of all the plays in the history of League of Legends, it was definitely one of them.
They were praying for that DRX inhibitor spawn. Probably buy him some time on the backside there.
That
but
was
Purdue not going to get it done there.
I have no words for that one, honestly, because 20 minutes into the game.
Pretty much even. 20:03, I think.
Yeah, it was.
So we're talking about the Baron and the Dragon. Just run to the base.
Just end the game at that. It was kind of a crazy ending at that, but nonetheless, once again, a little bit of a head scratcher coming through from Jackson that one. I mean, Alonso ended up perfect. You know, you can trash Alonso's damage all you want, but at the end of the day, Ricky really put the hurt down onto that Jax. I think at that point, Spiral was just like, I gotta try and splash, I gotta try and do anything. I cannot face this Aatrox anymore. And it was exactly that. A great game coming through from the Saints one. Once again, I mean, look at the damage numbers coming through. There was Jinx was 5-2.
And to be fair, 3 of those kills were just like not random death rockets, but they were just an R shot toward mid lane. So she had good value, but she wasn't giving you team fight value like they really wanted. Every time they were fighting, it felt like she was kind of isolated and out of the fight, couldn't really get in there and do anything. And I think 3 of the 5 kills were super mega death rocket. Actually, I believe 4. She got 2 in the mid lane and the double kill in the bot lane. So 4 of the kills just coming off of the R when the Saints probably were a little bit too aggressive, not ready for it. So while she gave them extreme value, just not really able to get in there for those team fights, and they were relying on her to shred down Ricky, especially Ricky. I mean, he had Death Stance and Eclipse before 20 minutes, had tier 2 boots. He would have been an absolute nightmare to deal with, but Purdue just... That was a questionable play, not able to get it done.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate for them, as well as they do fall to 1-4 on the season. Of course, Saints now at 5-1 are feeling pretty comfortable. Believe they've locked in playoffs.
Shout out to Erase too.
Yeah, or shout out to Erase for having a great performance at sort of their debut on the Varsity stage there. But of course, now at 5-1, there is one more game to be played, I believe, for the side of Clair in NECC. Yeah. Gonna be a heartbreaker for me once against my old boys at U Ottawa, but nonetheless, they basically.
Hey, you're wearing this now.
I am wearing this right now, for now.
Whoa.
I'm kidding. I can't say that on podcast. Nonetheless, but they have locked themselves in effectively for a very good seeding. I believe the lowest they can finish in their division is now 3rd, which is great for them because it gives you good seeding, gives you a potential at a bye even, and especially believe with how NECC works, you look at both sides of the Champions Division. You go with like a combined playoffs in that you could be facing up against a team that you haven't faced before, but is going to be on the weaker end of things as opposed to one of the strongest teams on the opposite side. So very curious to see how that works out for the rest of it. NECC coming to a close with that for League of Legends for this semester, but we aren't done for this week quite yet, Jobin.
Yeah, we're going to go over to the schedule here. We're going to give you guys a quick rundown of the rest of the week here. Going to be Call of Duty Vanguard, the NECC Star League Conference Championship. I believe opponent is potentially still TBD. As soon as we update, we'll put it on Twitter. We'll make the team news posts and everything like that. Then we're going to have Valorant against University of Ottawa. Little wish you were here for it, but you're going to be off having fun in Worlds in Atlanta, saying hi to Faker for everybody. So then Saturday, we're going to have the Rocket League Conference Championship as well. I believe also TBD opponent, but the Rocket League team talked to Quint for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. They had a really good convo. He said he feels like they're peaking. They feel like they're getting hot at a really, really good time. The team is as happy as it's been. Spood stepping in as the coach recently seems to have been a huge lift up for those guys, so they're very excited to get into it. And I say it's playoff season already. We're getting into these conference championships, and it's beautiful to see multiple teams in there. And I mean, the way League of Legends has been running as well, wouldn't be surprised to see them somewhere in there down the line as well, especially with the race. If he's able to film like he did today, they're not really going to miss a beat compared to what they saw yesterday. I mean, you look back at these 2 days, you could just interchange, and the result was pretty much the same.
You can put them together, and it looks like a very cohesive team, and it's really great to see the league team has 6, 7, 8 players that are able to step up at any time and really fill those roles. But very curious to see what happens in these playoff seasons. Of course, as you mentioned, League of Legends going to be riding up there soon. Valorant as well soon. There, November's sort of championship season for a lot of these, so very curious to see how that works out as well. But of course, that does wrap up our time for tonight. Want to give a big shout out to Orion, our director for tonight, and Danners and the Observer chair. Shout out to, of course, Joe for being my wonderful co-caster once again. I will say hi to Faker for all of you there. Gonna be at World. I'll bring my jersey. I'll make sure that I get on stream. That's the goal. That's the goal. We got to get on stream for that, represent the boys. But nonetheless, that will be it for us tonight. Stay tuned for tomorrow when we have COD Vanguard action for you. But until then, next time. Good night, everyone. Making sure they were able to find that one. But look at this. Overall, it's still this Caitlyn pumping out so much damage. Beginning of that fight, it's a Nautilus who's building as tanky as possible. Granted, looking at the build.
How tanky? I was gonna say.
Tanky quotes there. It's level 17 on this Caitlyn. She's just doing so much damage. Look at the damage she's putting out.
Ricky, deleting Simples once again, the first one to fall in these team fights, and the Saints are gonna snowball this one. Rockboom gonna find 2, looking for a third. He's got 3 on the board, and the Saints are going to wipe off.
We've just seen Rockboom continue to push that forward. Yes, it's going to be supplemented slightly here from the fact that there's a really big wave coming into that Jinx there, but it's still a massive advantage. Even topside, look at this.
Yeah, Ricky going to try to land the chains here. Spiral, got some help from Hydra. Ricky is going to turn the fight, Ignite, going to pop the R, and is going to get first blood there. So Ricky, with the help of Alonso, going to find the kill. They're going to go in on Hydra here, going to land the Q, get the knockup, is going to get the flash out of Hydra at least. So beautiful play topside by the Saints. Going to find the kill, get some Summoner's Burn, get this wave crash, and potentially take a plate as well, and then Rock.
Kill here, they've got kill drive.
Yeah, Ricky is going to go in on Spiral there. Hydra Knight is going to walk up on the backside there. Shuffle is going to come through, knocking TL out of the play. The Saints are going to collapse. Alonso there. Bakery Boy there as well. Spiral looking worse for wear is going to fall. Ricky still trying to put in work. You're trying to chase down the side of Purdue. Going to get the flash out of the Yone. Going to go in once again. Find another kill. Alonso picking up his second. The Saints going to go 2 for 0 in that top side jungle. Karthus are going to come through. Not going to be able to quite find that kill. Simple. Jinx is going to land that rocket and find that kill. So going to find 2.
There we go. Nonetheless, despite the fact that Sarah is down now compared to the Jinx in terms of effectiveness on the map, in terms of gold and everything, I'm still not too worried because we've seen time and time again Rockboom has been able to sort of survive these situations and make a name for themselves in a race.
Race trying to survive that situation is barely going to walk through with his life though. TL being very, very aggressive in this mid lane, trying to find these picks. Beautiful death rocket from way downtown. Fard gonna find it there. That's gonna be his 4th kill of the game.
With these hyper carries, it doesn't matter how fed the rest of your team can be. Jinx is just able to sit there, shooting away, firing down on all cylinders, and you're able to win a lot of these fights that you really shouldn't have any right to. So even this Dragon is going to be a little bit more difficult because this Jinx, 4-0 right now, you give over a couple more kills, you give over a little bit more gold, then she becomes even more of an issue.
Yeah, the Saints, that's the one thing they do have to watch now. Ricky gonna jump over the wall, is gonna get poly. They're gonna go all the way in. Shuffle's gonna land. Bakery Boy, absolutely 100-0. Simple is gonna fall. Now that should open up the pit for the Saints to take here. Gonna drop the control ward in the bush, try to get the thing. Oh, flash comes through, 1 HP. Bakery Boy is gonna flash to secure the kill. So beautiful drop to match the summoner spells. Find that kill, and in mid lane, Rockboom, someone gonna find the kill into TL, and he will walk away with his life. Although Karthus has another idea. Are gonna land, and no worse to wear, having Soraka and the shield on your back, you will be just fine. And the Saints, once again, in control. Yet again, shooting 100% from the field. Fard gonna find yet another death rocket. So just
hits for you, but very likely gonna be that rapid fire cannon.
Yeah.
It kind of feels bad sometimes on Jinx to have to go for that, but we'll see what they end up going for. Phantom Answer technically an option, but oh my goodness.
Bit off a lot there. Chains are going to land. Polymorph's going to go through. Ricky R is going to land as well. TP is going to come in backside. Ricky going to start to swing this fight. Going to have a flash on and find the kill. TL, very questionable 1v1 there. Ricky completely dominated the first half. One member comes to help. Bakery Boy going to chase Hydra into the mid lane. Ricky going to get that double kill, and Bakery Boy going to slice and dice. Yeah, we're seeing Alonso getting that Darksteel staff, slowly creeping up to that 10 mark. Bakery Boy, once again, doing a phenomenal job, just holding down the mid lane. Super solid scoreline. Purdue is going to drop second herald here in this mid lane, try to end up taking this tower. Rockboom is going to be here to show, has to be careful though. A lot of members are knocking up there. TL gonna dive in there. Lulu gonna try to find some damage. It's gonna get tagged up a lot. Rockboom might be able to find the kill here, actually. Gonna get the dash. Does find the kill on the Simple. Simples biting off more than he could chew. Should have backed off with the Yone, realizing that maybe wasn't the play, but got a little bit greedy for that tower.
Because look at this, a huge wave coming through. They might just end the game off of this.
Yeah, the Saints, I actually think they might end the game. Jax not gonna hit the recall as well. He's not gonna have time for the turret's gonna fall. Jax is gonna take a turret. They are actually trying to base race, it looks like. Or gonna go through, gonna have to back up the Saints. They're gonna slowly try to crash this Nexus. Jax still not taking his recall, still in the base. Saints trying to chunk down these towers, getting a lot of damage. It's Ricky as well, doing a great job frontlining, and the split push is going to go completely backwards for Purdue. Rockbom's going to find a kill. He's going to find two. Ricky finds one. Karthasar going to be too little too late. The Saints are going to
down a bouncing grenade, making sure they're